Witches, I need something cool to wear, something that says this Grand Admiral has flair. Witches, beware, you're gonna get some blue paint in your underwear. Threads of destiny make me look so cool. Threads of destiny, don't be tripping, tie your red ribbon round this undead fool.
It's the Making Star Wars show.
And what do you sacrifice?
Calm, kindness, kinship, love. I've given up all chance and inner peace. I've made my mind a sunless space. I share my dreams with ghosts. I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago from which there's only one conclusion. I'm damned for what I do. My anger, my ego, my unwillingness to yield, my eagerness to fight, they've set me on a path from which there is no escape. I yearn to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost, and by the time I looked down, there was no longer any ground beneath my feet. What is my sacrifice? I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. No, the ego that started this fight will never have a mirror, or an audience, or the light of gratitude. So what do I sacrifice? Everything.
Uncle told me, why did you have to go? Uncle told me, Billion wants to know, Grand Admiral Thrawn, why so blue? Why so blue? Show me dooby-dooby-doo.
Become a channel member. Or Dick Burnoff. Obi-Wan will.
There we go. We did it. We did it.
I ran an equation. I dream of ghosts. Rob is a fake fan. Star Wars is simple. Why don't you get it?
Yeah, we should just do the best of comments from the
My
battle
kids
board.
don't like Andor. I don't know what to do.
We got Azatru with us today. Hi, Mr. Azatru. The Azatruth. Truth.
In a while.
Yeah, it has. I know. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh man, it has been a while. It's been a while for Meg too. Where's Meg been? We should.
She's out there earning a real living, Jason. So slumming it here.
Hey.
What?
Hey.
But
Azatru
takes pity on the poor. He does social work, but Meg grew up in a penthouse suite. You know what I mean? Her father was a music producer. He was a mogul, Jason. Mogul.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
She went to Hogwarts. That's the end.
She was going to the Tiffany concerts, right?
Right. Hey, that's true. Let me ask you this: what's going on with video games?
Oh shucks,
what's going on?
There's been a lot. So,
that's true. Did you know there's a 20-foot stormtrooper right behind you, like just peeking in your room? Are you like a tiny little action figure, and that's a normal size stormtrooper, or is that a giant stormtrooper?
Are you a little tiny man?
Yeah.
Little tiny dollhouse? Are you a stormtrooper? Are you a stormtrooper's doll?
He's in a cupboard. I'm not going to use the word before that, but you know the joke, right? Like, yeah.
What? Who that?
Santa's going to talk video games? Santa's
yeah,
talk.
he is.
Hey, Azatru, did you know video games put Santa out of business in '85?
Oh no!
He thought he came back after the Atari, but Nintendo crushed him for a good solid 15 years. You know, like.
Hi, Santa.
Yeah.
Hello. Hey, I have a
white.
big change of plans today, and so I thought, what should I do since the rest of my day has been ruined? I'll go spend an hour with Jason, Rob, and Azatru.
Couldn't get any worse, right?
That'll be, you don't know, my friend. You don't know. My dad broke down near Zanesville, hauling Amish and a big trailer with a
hauling Amish. As one does.
A big shed, as one does. Yes, and he's got his shed and all this stuff on a big trailer, and I've got to go down and rescue him, haul that trailer for him, haul the Amish around, take him to go get his truck fixed. I'll be my afternoon and evening will be
Everyone
on the
needs
road.
to prove their proof of employment, right, Santa? But the Amish, you know what I mean? We give them free everything, right?
So
right?
There's stories. I can tell you some things.
Okay.
But
no,
no.
Azure has to go in 10 minutes, so hurry it up, Santa. All right.
No,
Tell us about your generosity and how you help people again. I want to hear all about it. Right? You know what it is? Santa's just sour because Halloween's coming up and no one remembers Santa during Halloween.
No,
right?
actually,
nobody dresses up as Santa for Halloween. Have you ever seen it, Jason? It's never happened.
That's true. You know,
probably him. Probably this guy.
I've gotten in trouble on Halloween for coming as myself. Yeah, they're like, Santa, get out of here! It's Halloween. I'm like, hey, it's me. What am I supposed to do?
I knew it. I knew he hated Halloween. Right?
They're like, this is not your holiday. Go home. I like candy. I know. Yeah,
candy. Colin Amish. I like you're a quote machine today. I like candy. Colin Amish. I mean, we're getting started.
I've got a bone to pick with our good friend Bespin Bulletin, but he's not here to yell at. So you
know what? I hate that guy.
Azure got 9 minutes now. You just lost a whole minute complaining about life, Santa. Right?
You know what? Oh, if it's about Bespin Bulletin, that's what I'm here for, because
Azure is like Evangelion. There's a timer. You know what I mean? You get them on, and then that's it. All you get.
I got Santa. I got the cold shoulder, like from the girlfriend treatment from Bespin yesterday.
Oh,
we get on Fortnite, and he's like, "You didn't mention that I was the one who said Anakin was a hologram." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, baby. You know, I was thinking about you. I got so much on my mind." He's like, "Yeah, well, you know." And then I got shot in Fortnite, and nobody revived me. I just was there, like dead. Like, come on, man.
Nobody cites Bespin more than you, and nobody funds this show more than this show. Like,
I was listening to Bob the podcast, whatever. I was listening to that, and I'm like, "You're wrong. You're wrong. You shut up. You don't know. You be quiet. You're wrong." So, but it doesn't help when you're on a podcast. So.
Yeah.
So
you admitting to yelling at walls again, Santa?
What was the bone to pick though? What was the bone to pick with them?
He got out of his wheelhouse. He started talking about toys and toy sales.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, you don't talk about toys and toy sales when Santa's in
Santa Claus.
Stay in your lane, Bespin.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
This is Santa's territory.
That's right.
Well, speaking of lanes, like what's up, Azure, with what's like the gaming thing I need to know in case you cut out with something?
Okay.
Because I don't follow gaming stuff, and then I ask Azure, then he tells me, and then I go, I know everything now.
Yeah. Well, it was expected. I mean, Bespin mentioned it himself, and Jeff Grubb, that there was a third Star Wars Jedi game in development. Obviously, we all knew there would be, but Cameron the other day at Comic-Con said, yeah, they're working on it. Like he's already like they've had conversations about it. So yeah, we're making it basically. But then recently the director left, which was obviously a big thing.
I haven't seen you since. I was in a game with you, and then you're all or whatever his name is, and then you're like, I just never heard from you.
My game crashed as we exited the game, and then that's when I was speaking about it.
I'm shocked.
I actually joined back with Bespin and was like, I've got to go make a video, and you'd already gone. But so the director left. And then the lead UI guy left, and then yesterday the design director has left. So obviously quite a few people are pretty unhappy, but like based on like the replies from the other developers, it does sound like they've like, okay, we've assembled this team. We know they're capable of carrying on our work. We've been doing this for almost a decade now. We surpassed what we could do with this game. Like, diminishing returns are going to be with a third game, because pretty much every issue people had with Fallen Order was fixed with Survivor.
Yeah.
So now it's like, can they really make it that much like a significant jump like that? Probably not.
Yeah, that's why
I don't know,
Uncharted failed.
JJ.
They get to that third game and they just ran out of money in sales, right?
Super Mario Brothers
Street
3,
Fighter
the
quit
best Mario
after
game
3.
ever. Think about
Yeah,
it.
Mario quit after 3 too. No more of them. Zelda, when we got to Link to the Past, they just chucked the franchise in the gutter. Yeah, real smart thinking, AAA studios.
So, do you have low confidence in the third one, or we just have
I
to wait
don't
to see who the
because
director is?
From what it sounds like, the main writer on the last two games, he's staying. Like he was replying, like saying like best of luck sort of thing. Like I get the feeling like they're promoting people that have been on the two games to replace them, and they're just like, we assembled this team almost a decade ago, and now like we've made the team, we know they can carry on our work and we're going our ways. But the lead UI guy is staying on Star Wars. He's working on the game. Respawn's helping. So it's not like he's just like he's still working with Respawn. He just works for BitReactor, the actual developer. So he's all of his work. He's now the art director, not just UI. Like he's the main art director on that game. So that's cool. The other two haven't announced like what they're doing exactly, but I do get the feeling like maybe there'll be a few more people potentially leave. But it sounds like they're just promoting people that have worked under them. For both games to replace them. So
I've got a big question for Azatru.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's pretend that you were listening to a podcast, and on the podcast they were saying that kids don't interact with Star Wars, that they're not directly interacting with Star Wars themselves. They get it only from their parents. What would you say the consumption is of Star Wars games amongst the youth of today?
It's not so much anymore because there isn't a live service Star Wars game. But when Battlefront was out, from 2017 to 2020, most of the audience were kids. And the vocal audience online were also kids, teenagers, and people.
I was killing them like Anakin in Battlefront. I remember that.
That was another thing. Is like a big talking point. Like myself and other
hold on.
people
I gotta check down live service on my Azatru bingo card. 1 second. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
I know that when I had kids come at Christmas, and they, you ask them what they want. And when they would bring up Star Wars, I would say, "Well, what's your favorite character?" A number of them would say, "Well, I've never really watched the movies. I only played the games." So, and then they would,
I actually know some people that only played Battlefront and they've never seen any of the films. They're like, this is just a good game. And I have no intention of watching Star Wars, but I like this game.
This is like that's the kind of person who like dates somebody for like years and never asked them about their family or something. That's just weird to me. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? I care about this one thing that
So
I don't get it either, but
classic Bob. Yeah, so I didn't want to say it, but since you volunteered.
Passive aggressive wards. So what do you think? What do you think, Azatru? Do you think this is they got fed up because they didn't see any more money? I don't see that ever happening. Did they get a job to do a new studio somewhere?
If I had to guess, Stig probably was given like whatever he wants to start his new his own studio potentially.
72 virgins.
There was a lot of DICE devs leave. A lot of top people at DICE from the Battlefield and Battlefront side that have all gone off and made their own studios, and they've just had millions upon millions and millions of investment. They've hired a lot of people from DICE. Like all the Battlefront team are back together as an independent studio, basically.
That's cool.
Are they going to make some shitty game for Microsoft that doesn't work right, like that last team did? Right? Remember when they did Back 4 Blood or something? All these devs, they leave, then they go and do some exclusive game for Microsoft that's going to run ray tracing and 60 frames per second, and it don't work. Are they going to do that?
Well, they're getting paid, so
they're going to do
that. Rob, those are like I think his friends.
Sorry, Azatru. Sorry,
Azatru. From what I gather is it's like there's a lot of right now is that a lot of people that have been under like a publisher for quite some time, they've gotten bored of having to work as under a publisher. So now they're being like offered, ridiculous money to make their own thing, and they're going and making their own thing. And two of them I've mentioned, they've been there for almost a decade, right? They're going to be having to spend another like 3 to 4 years on this next game. Do they really want to be doing that, or are they getting out right? Here's the base like outline of the story. Okay, I can trust you to make this third game.
Yeah.
I just don't think the jump between Survivor and this third game is going to be big enough because how much they outdid themselves from Fallen Order.
So what you're saying is these are innovators and they're not looking back, baby. They're not staying where they're at. They're going into the future.
Maybe this one can actually work when it ships. How about that? Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I'm still talking about it. I'm the only one still really talking about it.
You know what the irony of it is as it's true is that Rob plays games so slow. The game he could if he was playing Cyberpunk, it'd be he would just be getting this to like the first hour right now, and it'd be a great game.
Yeah.
So it's not on the
No, I quit Zelda before I even got off the island. Like,
I know.
Yeah. And then I went back in, Jason, just to finish the island, and I was falling asleep trying to get out that island. I was like, just get me off the island. I jumped off the thing 3 times just so I could get the sense of nowhere. It felt I don't care. I don't know. So it's just bland art direction. Look, man, I admit I will never beat Elden Ring or Dark Souls or Demon Souls, but the art direction's so strong. I can still go in and play. I can still go in and play for an hour or two because it's just. And I don't even like horror games. It's not even about that. It's just that they have a keen art direction. I'm just not up for. There's something very was that material design? Like there's something very minimalistic about the Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild art. So I'm not into it. So
all right.
It's place. All right, so as a true. Other than your friends getting rich and starting their own studios and fucking over Star Wars, what else we got?
We got to fight. We got to fight here. What? We got to fight. We got a Santa fight going down.
Oh, Bespin's on bottom. I don't know about that.
I mean, it's a new position for me, but I'll take it. Literally.
He just wants the Patreon money. He'll take whatever positions he gets.
Support $100 to enter. $100 to enter. It's all good. I'll be the bottom.
So anyway, yeah, and then did you hear about the Fortnite news that Bespin? That they're firing everybody?
Not Fortnite. That's not Fortnite. That's the other one.
No, it's
right?
Fortnite.
No, Fortnite too. Fortnite too.
Fortnite's done for.
I knew Donald Mustard left, right? That was it. That's all I heard about.
No, they've got rid of 16% of the workforce because Fortnite's spending more money than it's making. And they're also raising the price of V-Bucks everywhere. They're blaming it on like the Fortnite creator program and stuff like that. That no one's actually building stuff for Fortnite; they're just playing, and that's it. So
yeah, they don't want to. They thought they could corner the Roblox market, right? As it true, they can get them Roblox kid to make shit for them for free. And Santa's like, I know this business. I've been doing this for centuries. And it turns out people don't want to fucking spend their whole time building shit in games like me. I don't want to play a Zelda game to build shit. I just want to play the game.
I don't know, man. Like Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox, kids line up.
It's as if Santa. There's only 3 video games ever made, right? Like.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Them.
Like the kids that line up at Christmas, just time after time after time. I hear those over and over, and then you throw in Lego and Barbie, and that's 99% of what kids are asking for Christmas.
Yeah, Santa's right. It's just that kids don't make anything in the game that anybody actually wants to play in the end. Well, it's like if you get a bunch of Legos, you're like, oh, build me the shuttle Tidarium. They're not going to do it. They're going to build you like a box. You know what I mean? That's the problem with it, I think.
Going back to the Fortnite letting a lot of people go thing, me and you, Jason, were discussing recently that the player base has been dwindling the past year. We've been complaining about the maps and the battle passes and like the lack of innovation in the game over the past year. But last year they were getting around 30 million players in daily, and now they're at around 15. Yeah. So that's a significant loss. Obviously 15 million players a day is fine. Like that's a healthy base, but it's still half of what it was a year ago. So to hear that they're letting all these people go, I'm surprised that they're blaming it on the creator program. But yeah, I just think it's their own fault. Like the only reason I play Fortnite as often as I do is just because of Jason, just because that's the game we play together, essentially.
Yeah.
But
as it true, is it their fault or is it the communists? Which is it? Santa wants to know.
Santa knows.
I'm
Santa
asking
knows.
for a friend, as it true. I don't want to say who, but I just want to know.
Santa says Milton Freeman predicted Fortnite. That's what he said. So
Well, no, I've started fights in families as Santa. So like kid will come up, like two siblings will come up, and one will ask for like Fortnite, whatever, and the other one will ask for Minecraft, and then I'll say, which one's better, Fortnite or Minecraft? And then
Santa lets the kids fight. Let them fight, right? Like a kid with Tanabe, right?
Send them home with the parents.
Santa goes. Santa's thinking in his head, he's like, one of you who wins will replace me someday.
That's how he 3 minutes. We gotta let him speak. As you go. He's got 3 minutes.
That's true. Inform us about video games.
He's gonna disappear, turn back into a pumpkin. Like, just come on. Like,
So another thing that happened was the last time I was on it, I was just about to head out to Comic-Con for Star Wars Outlaws. So that was pretty good. We got loads of information out about that that following week, and there was like new footage, things like that. But it's been kind of quiet since then. But that's, I guess, because they've been heads down working on it. Still nothing really out of them, although the creative director who's like leading the game, he announced that he's like moving off the game. But this is the key thing: a lot of people aren't like they read the headline and not any more details. So he's moving off the game after it's out. So like that's a key bit of information. So Ubisoft announced they're making The Division 3, which is what that studio has been making. They've made The Division for the past few years, and once Outlaws is out, then he's taking over as like the head of like The Division. But like they basically said he's not leaving until like it's absolutely like ready to be out. So I think if you read between the lines, it's like if they do end up delaying the game in like, if it's supposed to be out like at the start of next year, if they end up pushing it back till the end of next April, I think is what it's supposed to be. If they say end up announcing it or it comes out in November, he's still going to be staying on at this point till that's done, like completely out the door. And there was like saying it needs to be, the best it can be and stuff like that. So a lot of people are worried straight away, but like no, they just announcing that he's going to move off Outlaws. So once it's done, so nothing really to worry about there. Which I know some people just don't read, which has been something that's really annoyed me over the last couple of weeks. So
like, tell me about it.
Tell me about it.
Right? Me and Bespin could talk for hours. Like me and Bespin could have the same issue, like with completely different audiences, because people just have no attention span.
What Santa doesn't know is this show is an intervention for him. We're here to tell him to read articles. We're all here as a friend. Please, Santa, read the articles fully. For me and as a Jason.
Bespin, Santa still reads the newspaper. You're on the wrong program with this guy.
No, Bespin's caught me like scanning his articles and just picking out the parts I like. And so I'm guilty. Just
yeah, that's fair. Though. No. Anyway, thank you, Mike, for the $2 super chat. It says thank you for the show today, guys. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that, man. But
thanks, Mike.
Yeah. So when it comes to video games, we have the strike that was kind of affecting it too, right? To like some degree. So that might mean.
So basically, what was happening was like the actors were striking, even though they didn't have to for game stuff. Maybe they were still working game stuff. It was just the promotional side of things they weren't doing. But now they like voice actors and whatnot have agreed to like include video games. So that strike's probably going to be coming up. With Outlaws, I'm not sure how much that's going to affect it, given how much progress has been made. But it could definitely have an impact on it. People saying like Jedi 3 is going to be cancelled or delayed. Like Cameron isn't going to be motion capturing for the game. Like in the next few months. So, but it may affect other games. Recently, Jeff Grubb said no one's like picked this up, but I'll drop it here. He's heard recently there are a lot of studios making Star Wars games that are all unannounced. Like there is a lot of Star Wars games. So,
making Star Wars games. That's when I had.
Isn't Bethesda rumored to be making one at the moment?
So that's another thing I was going to bring up. So a leaker he's got a mixed bag of a track record. But he said a long time ago, back when Bethesda was bought by Microsoft, that there was a Mandalorian game in development at Xbox and Bethesda. And then there was like a few things here and there, but like nothing's like, it's been like 2 years now, something like that. And we've still not really heard anything. But then with the Xbox leak recently, one of the slides showed like all of Bethesda's upcoming slate. And one of them is a licensed IP game after the Indiana Jones game. Now, people don't even look at images that are in a tweet. It's separate from the Indiana Jones game because they're two different things. But then this leaker went on to say that it's a Disney IP. Well, obviously Disney have a lot of IPs, but Bethesda aren't going to do Mickey Mouse and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Could be
they're not bitches.
Marvel.
It could be a Marvel game. It could be a Marvel game, but also this is the same guy that he like tried to like say he knows, but he can't say. But this is also the same guy that said they're also making a Mandalorian game. So maybe we get.
What if they're making a Bob Iger game where he goes after Chapek, right? Big Bob, Little Bob, right? Big Bob, Little Bob. It's possible. Everyone wants to be CEO. They'd be the first open world CEO game where you get everything and everyone gets to live in a parking lot, right?
How about Star Wars In-Laws, where you play as Baru White's son, who's marrying Uncle Owen, and you have to take in his crazy one-legged father?
What if it's a power wash simulator, but you got to hose down the charred bodies of the Owen and Baru?
Oh, no.
You got to clean up the imperial messes.
Funnily enough, Power Wash Simulator actually did say they want, like, they've had talks about Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
they said, like,
you got to clean up the shop.
They said, like, they wanted to do the Falcon, and they said they just work, like, I think it will happen, but they said, like, they're just trying to work it out. So.
Of the Bix, I could just hose down. Oh, okay, no,
you could just hose down Bix.
The fans
if Jason could mod a game that has Bix in it, it is unsafe. Like we won't see him for months on this show.
I wish we could mod Tetris so it's Bictris. It's just pieces of Bix that fall, and you gotta like shape her. You know what I mean? Like
when I get an Oculus 3, you guys might not see me anymore. Anyways, Bespin Bulletin has an article. Should we hit on the article?
Is that all the gaming stuff?
Oh,
it's not everything, but they're not. It's not that big.
So, do you think they're making a Star Wars game, or do you think they've made a Star Wars game? Is it before? Is it coming, or did they do it? Which is
what are you betting as a Drew on that one? Are you thinking like, what does your Spidey sense say?
I don't know. I really don't know. I want it to be 100% true, and there's been. Why isn't there a Mandalorian game? Like,
where if you've not been watching this podcast for 2 years, I've been like,
this is around the same time. Like, it would have started around the same time. Like, Mando season 1 had just come out, so like the excitement was there. So, I do think there's a chance.
I think
whether it still exists though.
If it's story-driven content. It's just I think it's too difficult to do that while you have 4 Star Wars productions going on in Los Angeles.
Which is essentially why we've not seen anything about it.
Yeah.
John has to write the game, right?
I hope not.
Mando saves the princess in another castle.
Do we know what developers at Bethesda are supposed to be working on it? Like which studio there?
We don't really. The same guy said there was a Mandalorian MMO at ZeniMax, but then that was sort of tossed out, so it probably isn't at ZeniMax Online. But I don't know.
I remember the Mandalorian rumors from 2 years ago. Like the guy who was saying it was like not very credible. Like I did follow it. I wrote about it.
It's the same guy now. Like he's been very hit and miss. Like he said a lot of like Xbox stuff that hasn't come true, but also has said Xbox stuff that has come true. So.
Yeah.
Could they reskin Hexen 64 and just call it Cara Dune 64?
Well,
right.
I mean, usually though, like what happens when it's something big like a Mandalorian game is being developed somewhere, and then somebody comes out and says it, then somebody more credible looks into it, like maybe the Grub, and then the Grub's like, "Hey, is this true?" And then the Grub comes out,
I've spoken with Jeff about it. Like I've spoken with Jeff about it last year and the year before.
Yeah,
and he had nothing on it. And I remember at one point people were saying there was a Din Djarin Funko Pop behind Phil Spence on his shelf. I remember, if you remember, that was a thing as true, where he was putting little Easter eggs on his shelf. About
he's still doing
he's
it.
Still doing it.
Well, if it don't grub, it don't rub. That's what I say over here.
Well,
did he line up 900 Fortnite employees on his shelf? Just as a little
Pancho Villa style to save ammo.
Yeah, little Easter egg for you. Like,
no, but the Mandalorian like Funko, it wasn't even a Mandalorian figure. It was something from Mass Effect, I believe. So, but at that time is when the rumors started about the Mandalorian game. So I don't know if it was being piggybacked off of that. And like I said, I spoke to Jeff. I speak to Jeff like fairly often, and no updates on a Mandalorian game. I'll get in touch with him again about this Bethesda thing, but I'm surprised he hasn't even mentioned it on his own shows. If he shared is true, he would say.
Yeah, he hasn't mentioned it. The only thing he said recently is that there's just he's heard a lot of Star Wars games are in development, like that we don't know about, which is good. Like that's what it should be. There are a lot of people, like I've seen them recently, say one game a year is too much, and those people are insane. Like,
hey,
I'm
sorry, one game a year is too much. Just don't play it until you're ready. Like Rob. Right, Rob?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like me.
Remember?
Yeah.
All right. BestmanBulletin.com has this little article. That's not really little.
It's not little at all.
Yeah, you can support Bestman on Patreon or Coffee. You can tell him he's a fat idiot, whatever you want. You could tell him I love
just
you.
like Rob. Yeah.
You could call him a
piece of
freehold
shit.
wonder.
That's what I call. Sorry, Santa. We're not on your show now. We do things differently downtown. Yeah.
Hey, Santa's here
I
to
listened
be
to yesterday's show. Look, my expectations. Yeah, I know what I'm getting into.
I've never been lower.
Yeah.
Never
been lower, Jason.
Oh my goodness!
Look, here's how I know I riled Santa up, Jason. He started the show right after we ended ours. Like I saw it go live, like right after. I'm like, ooh, we got him.
Fired up. He's like, this Rob kid. He's not even. I'm not even going to give him coal. All right. After nearly 5 months, the Writers Guild of America strike has come to an end as the WGA and the Hollywood studios, represented by the AMPTP, I'm looking forward to never saying this again, have finally reached an agreement. The WGA strike lasted a whopping 148 days as studios dug their heels in and refused to agree to fair terms proposed by the union. That was until this Sunday when a tentative agreement was reached by the WGA and the AMPTP. The WGA announced today that their negotiating committee, WGAW board, and the WGAE council voted unanimously in agreement to the terms of the proposal deal and voted to end the strike, which will come into play on Wednesday, September 27th at 1 minute past midnight. This decision will allow writers to return to work as the ratification process continues. However, eligible WGA members will be voting on the terms of the deal between October 2nd and the 9th. And if those voters decide to reject the offer, the WGA strike can immediately start once again. The WGA negotiating committee told members that this deal is exceptional, with meaningful gains and protections for writers in every sector of the membership. Key strike issues include fair wages, streaming residuals, protections against the use of artificial intelligence, and minimum staffing in TV writers' rooms. Some points of the WGA deal can be read below. And then we'll get into that. So that's basically what we've been dealing with for the last almost half a year. In development, writers' rooms will require at least 3 writers, including the showrunner, which are guaranteed 10 weeks of employment. Once greenlit, TV series with 6 episodes or fewer will have a minimum of 3 writers. Series with 8 to 12 episodes will require 5 writers, and series with 13 episodes or more will require a minimum of 6 writers inside the writer's room.
Hold on. I got some clarification on that because of my comment yesterday about perhaps Star Wars will get better when they force writers on these shows other than one guy. But they did say there's a stipulation that solo creator shows can have a solo writer if it's the head of the show. Like I'm getting that Tyler Sheridan rule is what I'm going to call it. Right.
Yeah. Sheridan rule.
Yeah. Like they gave an exemption. They gave an exemption for that dude, basically.
Okay.
So I wonder if Favreau will then officially have to become a showrunner, because they don't want to name showrunner on any Disney Plus show, right? Like they don't do that. So they're gonna have to either hire more writers if they don't do that. I don't know. Like
But then again, with The Mandalorian, Favreau obviously has Filoni helping write it, and he also has that other guy. Is his name Noah something?
Yeah.
So they have at least 3 writers on it.
Noah Schmoa.
So they have to hire 3 more.
He don't know what he's writing about. Right?
That's how they like treat him. Hey, number 3, you don't know what you're doing here. All right.
We're saying they might have to hire 3 more, but like somebody like Rick Famuyiwa does help write some of the episodes. He is an executive producer of the show now, so he could contribute as a writer. I still blame Favreau. I don't blame Rick.
Okay.
All right. In development, writers' rooms will require at least 3 writers, including the showrunner, which are guaranteed 10 weeks of employment. Once greenlit, TV series with 6 episodes or fewer will have a minimum of 3 writers. Series with 8 to 12 episodes will require 5 writers, and series with 13 episodes or more will require a minimum of 6 writers inside the writers' room. So Hollywood studios must provide the WGA details of a show's viewer membership, including total number of hours streamed worldwide. So that is good. Foreign residuals are now based on the streaming services numbers of forum subscribers, a 76% increase. What does that mean, Bespin? They will get 76% more from the foreign payments, or
I believe so, or it's an increase on what they were already receiving, because some were receiving some residuals, but it wasn't much. But they were hiding the numbers.
Right. Let me ask a question about this, because I think I saw this, and you may have addressed it. They must provide the WGA details of the show's viewership. Isn't that like behind closed doors sharing it? It's not going to be public. It's like the WGA will know, but they're not going to let us know necessarily.
No, they wouldn't.
And the people on the show won't know. It'll be at the WGA specific people. Script Notes podcast. One of the guys on there, he's a screenwriter. He's on the WGA and helped negotiate this deal. And he went through, there's an episode, Sidecast, What's in the Deal, where he gets into like the nitty gritty of what that all means, specifically.
Yeah.
But they were very clear to say that's confidential information that will be shared with the WGA so that they can verify, that if it is a hit, they're getting money. But they don't have to then disclose. I don't know.
And it will allow for leaks. I know that. We know that much. Movies and series viewed by 20% and over of the service's domestic subscribers in the first 90 days of release get a bonus equal to 50% of the fixed domestic and foreign residuals. Writers on the larger streamer shows films would receive the bonuses of $9,000 for a half-hour episode, $16,000 for an hour-long episode, and $40,000 for a streaming movie with a budget over $30 million. So
if you remember, by the way, David Zaslav only wants to make streaming movies under $30 million.
Yeah.
This is something he's been saying for about a year.
Yeah. Because he's a fucking donkey.
No,
all right.
Question though.
Yeah.
And again, this is my good old consumer hat here, right? I'm going. So a budget under 30 million. So if I budget my movie at 29.5, and then the budget overruns, do I still fall under the over 30 million? Or
I would assume so.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know that for certain, but I would imagine otherwise that would just be a loophole. Oh yeah, we're making this Star Wars movie for $29 million. Oh no, the budget ballooned to 200 million. And Harrison Ford's CGI.
Yeah,
Can you believe it? That was a lot of money. So
that's capitalism for you. That's what I was just thinking. That's what I would do. No.
But those pigs would try it, and we know they would. So I'm gonna imagine that if they did close that up. So artificial intelligence cannot write or rewrite literary material, and AI generated material will not be considered source material. Writers can choose to use AI, but the studio can't require a writer to use AI software. Studios must disclose to writers if any materials given to them have been generated by AI or incorporate AI generated material. The WGA reserves the right to assert that exploitation of writers' material to train AI is prohibited by the agreement or other law. So that right
Scripts
there,
Notes,
that doesn't
Script Notes
sound good
podcast.
to me. That
Yeah,
doesn't
actually, it is good. They were really they wanted to be, the way Script Notes covered this was said that the studios are also equally afraid of AI because of future pending lawsuits. To which I think what will happen, this is my own 2 cents, is that every studio will train an AI based on the scripts they already own. Right?
Oh,
Like they'll have something
But what
in-house.
happens
But here's
when
the problem.
when they sell a property, like Terminator? You don't own
Or
the
how
IP
about this?
or
What happens when they create an AI generated script and then feed it back into their dream machine and it's now learning from AI generated scripts, right? Like it's a self-defeating.
that breaks down when
Right,
AI
that's what
is
I'm
trained
saying.
on
Like
AI.
the flaw in that logic is that these
But
current algorithms are based off billions of pieces of information, but there's only tens of thousands of scripts anyone owns at any given time for it to matter.
but
So
we've all had jobs here. Everybody on here has been employed. When you are employed, there is the policy and then there is the reality. And I don't know. I'm curious as to how tight that AI thing really is going to be. Because it's like, oh yeah, it's your choice. No, they're gonna be like, if it gets to a place, they're gonna be like, you're not gonna use it. Okay, we're gonna go someone else. Like they're not gonna act like that's the case, but it's gonna be I think it'll be tacitly like you use these tools and you do this faster, or you must use these tools to do it in the time allotted, or we're just not going to.
Yeah, the problem though with all that is you still have to go through accreditation with the WGA for a script, and so they're going to have to tell the WGA. This all gets into legal. I assume that lawsuits will occur at that point.
There is a lawsuit right now that I just watched over the weekend. The horror writer Steve King, right? Stephen King and other writers are engaged in because they are asserting that like ChatGPT and some of these other AI programs have ingested their material to train, but they weren't paid for their material to be ingested. And so what the AI is creating now, it learned from their material that they were not paid for. So there's a lawsuit by some of these writers of novels, big name writers who are asserting this and taking it to court. And what I read when I see this, the right to assert exploitation of writers' material to train is kind of adjoining onto that lawsuit that already exists. And we'll see what happens as this goes its way through court. If Stephen King and the others win, then the writers for these TV shows are going to enjoin on that and say, pay us too.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's saying, right?
But also, how are you going to be able to prove that so if there's no transparency in what you're using in the AI to build that database, then how is Stephen King going to prove that Santa and Jason Co. are using it in their database? You can't. So it's like, I don't know.
Subpoena. No, they can. There's a whole division of the SEC or the FCC that is devoted to document destruction or algorithm destruction. Like when certain companies go rogue. I posted about this a year ago. I got to dig it back up. But they can subpoena these things and tear them apart to how they work, right?
Yeah.
And they're actually, they've already done it prior to AI, like just with social media algorithms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is something that the government already knows how to do. It's just people aren't aware of it.
Yeah, I just don't know if I trust that it will be actually like applicable. Like if if you and I wrote a novel and they're using it, that we could actually do anything about it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you this. Like my experience comes from T-shirts, and let me just tell you, man. Like this is where a small thing is parallel to this giant problem. In T-shirts, there's always because the volume is so much and the turnaround so quick, everyone's trying to find a way to game the system. Every year they try to come with something new, and they always inadvertently and eventually try to go the route of getting a bunch of freelancers who will just put together a bunch of pre-made assets and they'll put up the shirts and then they got a bunch of material and they're all like jacking other people's material. But these things always end up on a floor and someone eventually sees their art on a shirt because these artists always use stolen goods. And every year you're going to find this Target just put up not Target, some store, right? For we don't get sued, right? Just put up
Target,
right? It was just happened the other week. Like it was a whole bunch of like
it starts with a T, it ends with a T. Got it.
Witches, like there was a bunch of Halloween programs that were janked and put up on the shelf. So these algorithms are they're all based off stable diffusion. Stable diffusion is really simple. Just like folks, they trained the computers to take an apple and break it into a billion pieces and then just did it in reverse. So it can take a billion different things and create an apple. And it's going to have passages from their stuff in your product one way or the other. Like you may not be able to recognize it, but their forensic software will be able to detect,
Well, okay, so I'm sure all of this reading this are related that the WGA strike has concluded, as it seems the Hollywood studios finally saw sense and agreed to the fair terms proposed by the WGA and its representatives. Hopefully, the AMPTP now turns their attention to SAG-AFTRA, who has been striking since July and are seeking similar terms with the WGA and DGA. Ahead of the WGA strike, which began in May, there were many Star Wars films and TV projects in various forms of development. So I'm sure some of you are asking the question, what does this mean for the Star Wars? Well, let's look at the projects below and what the WGA strike ending means for those currently in development. So we got our untitled Rey Skywalker movie. The untitled Star Wars movie, which will see Daisy Ridley return to Galaxy Far, Far Away as Rey Skywalker, was due to have a draft submitted by Stephen Knight in mid-May, according to Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. The WGA strike began on May 2nd, 2 weeks ahead of when Knight was due to submit his draft. And it's like weird because they knew that strike was coming then, meaning it was unlikely that finished draft got submitted. Knight was brought onto the project in the spring following the departure of the original writers of the project, Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson. Given how close Knight was to having to submit his draft, it's likely that his film project will be one of the first projects at Lucasfilm to receive significant movement and development. Past reports pointed towards an April start for filming. Was that from Snyder? Was the April from Snyder originally, or was that from me? Okay.
Snyder.
But it's unclear if that timeline had been delayed following the near 5 months of pencils being down. The untitled film will follow Rey as she forges a new Jedi Academy and is expected to be released in May of 2026. So Bestman, are you confident that it will that is still completely possible now that we did get it in October when they said it would end the whole time, because that was the studio's plan, was to make them suffer until October?
Yeah, it's so funny that like so many people heard October was like crucial to this. I heard it, you heard it, Snyder heard it, loads of people did. I think there's enough time in between when production could start on the Rey movie until it's due to be released. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure the Avengers movie for May 2026 is going to get delayed. So that opens up that month, because I always thought it was silly that the Star Wars movie comes out and then 2 weeks later the next Avengers movie comes out. Like, did they not learn from Solo?
They were mad about that whole Deadpool thing problem.
They forgot.
So yeah, I think it's possible. I don't think April will happen, and I don't think it needs to happen. Again, like that movie is supposed to go to May 2026. You could start shooting at the end of 2024, or even at the beginning of 2025 if needed.
So let me ask a question about this, Bestman, because the other half of this, of course, is the actors' strike, right? That's still not resolved. Perhaps it will be soon, but they can't move forward with filming unless the actors are there. But the Rey movie potentially could be shot over there, yeah?
The Rey movie could be shot here, but the thing is, the issue with it is, because I know where you're going. You're going to go with the equity route, correct?
More or less.
That union, yeah. Well, I think they need to be in contract before it starts filming. So when the actors went on strike, for example, like Game of Thrones, they went on strike and they were already committed to filming. They were already in the process of filming it. Simon Pegg from Mission Impossible remained doing the promotional circuit because he was already contracted to do so. I don't think they could just pick up the production in the UK and start casting just British people. I think there's more to it than that. But But again, I would be very, very surprised if the studios in general left SAG go until April.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, because we're like in October basically now. So we have like October, November, December, January, February, March. That's 7 months, like for them to work it out and then hit the date.
And SAG has been on strike since July. So that would have been a whole 9 months without working actors.
What do we think about the solidarity talk with the WGA and SAG? Is that out the window now?
Well, have the WGA actually continued to strike over the last day?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, I don't. They're not out there. I don't think they're out there anymore.
No, but they did say that at one point that they would stand with the actors until they get a deal as well. But that does not look like it's happened.
Yeah, I mean, we got.
I promised to quit the show several times for everyone's sake, but here I am.
Oh, right? I blocked Bespin Bulletin. I won't read his site because he was writing about Star Wars during the strike, which is a struck company, and
I genuinely thought I was going to get some shit for this article just because of that last one when I did the SAG one. Clearly, those people didn't read the article, but
Do you think this article got people worked up? That Bob podcast got me all fired up. I'm ready to duke it out over that Bob podcast.
Listening to Bob, I never knew.
Yeah, well, you tweeted out yesterday. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll go listen to the Bob podcast. That'll be. That was a mistake. Yeah, I shouldn't have done.
I know the line that got you because that's why he was there. The lack of growth in Star Wars. I assume that was the line.
Yeah, it's about the toys. It's about the toys.
Well, I talk about it. Yeah, like
okay.
In the video,
look, do it.
That's the first question I ask as a troop, because the kids are playing video games, my friend. They're doing it. So how are kids interacting with Star Wars? Not just through their parents. No. They play the video games themselves.
Didn't Azatru say to you that less kids are playing Star Wars because there's no live service game?
Yeah, but Azatru says that about everything. He's just shilling for live service games, right?
Azatru's the youngest out of us all, right? He can relate to the kids more than any of us.
He just wants to live in a live service. Luckily, Azatru, you live in a live service country, right? So don't worry. You're not.
My audience is like 12 to like 22, right? And through Battlefront, they're the the new generation of Star Wars fans, aside from the really young kids. And all of them don't care what you're coming out with. They just want Clone Wars, Order 66 killing, and Battlefront. That's it. That's all they want. And Starkiller.
Okay. But
give them that, they're happy.
You just explained somebody else's audience to me, Azatru.
This episode is actually called Azatru Exposed because we were hitting at it, because when you look at it, see, we got Santa Claus right here. Then we have a little man with a stormtrooper looking at him. Azatru's an elf. I'm convinced. I'm convinced he's an elf who escaped, but with a passion for Star Wars.
Are there a bunch of Rey toys in your room too? Like Santa's got a whole.
There's a couple.
I've got
Garth not giving 499 super chat and says Bespin Bulletin is a total scab. Ward, you're disgracing your channel and union workers everywhere having him on. You know what, Garth? You are right. I will. I will play Fortnite with them tomorrow, and we'll
solidarity. just say the word, Jason. That's all you gotta do.
All right, we got Lando. Sorry.
Don't worry, Jason. We'll just share information under the table. As will be our information broker.
So okay, the Lando show, or the Lando movie now. Over the summer, it was revealed that Donald Glover, who played Lando Calrissian in Star Wars, Solo, a Star Wars story, and his brother Stefan Glover, no, it's not Urkel, no, Stephen Glover, have taken over writing duties on the Lando project. According to Jeff Snyder, the Glovers took over the Lando project and began work on it ahead of its WGA strike, which began in May. And during a live stream, Snyder claimed that Lucasfilm, pre-strike, did not want to slow down on the development of Lando, which caused the switch from Lando's original writer, Justin Simeon, to the Glovers. Lando initially started as a Disney Plus series, but since the Glovers took over the project, it has morphed into a movie. It's morphin' time. Given Lucasfilm's urgency to keep the series in development by switching writers and allowing the Glovers to shape the series into a movie, it's likely one of the projects with a lot of momentum behind it at the moment. and it's possible a draft from the Glovers could be submitted by the year's end. The Lando film currently does not have a theatrical release date. It is not rumored to be one of the projects attached to the theatrical release dates that Lucasfilm announced in April because it's bullshit. So yeah, any thoughts on the whole Lando thing? I mean, from that, I mean, I do think that it, like, what the Lando film proves is that the slate is bullshit. It was never real. Star Wars Celebration was just about, well, we got to say something. Let's just talk about 3 that we got going. And the reality is the first ones that are ready are going to be the ones that are done. I would imagine the Rey film will be first, as it's the one that they want the most. But
the
after
Filoni
that,
one will also be
after
done.
that, I mean, if Filoni for whatever reason isn't ready, and the Lando one is, this is gonna be Lando 1 second. I think they're just developing a bunch of films and they're just gonna put them out when they can.
That's 100% where it is. I also, like, the theory I have, and I've told you this before, is that I think the 2027 film likely won't be any that we know. It won't be Waititi or Mangold or the Lando project. I think it'll just be something new that's being developed now, or like maybe starts to form next year.
Yeah,
it's like the Lindelof one. Like that, like it was supposed to be Taika in 2025, when the Rey movie was December 2025. Like it took over the Taika spot.
Yeah,
and we're now at a position where the Rey movie is the priority. Like I've heard that, you've heard that, and it seems to be what everybody else has. So yeah, I think there's a good chance that wherever the 2027 movie is, we actually don't know about it, because I don't have a ton of confidence in any of these other projects outside of the Rey and the Filoni movie. If this was a series, a Lando series, I'd have more faith that it'd be released, because they actually deliver most of their series.
But I got a question as it comes to the Lando movie, especially and Waititi's movie. The chances that they were actually doing writing while the writer strike was going on is high, wouldn't you say? They were just
we shouldn't accuse. We shouldn't speculate on it.
Fandom Empire says, seriously, is there a big screen appetite for a Lando movie? My theory, fandom, is that the original phase of Star Wars films that we had, like I've said this a million times, no one ever listens to me about it. The initial agenda of Lucasfilm was to get women into Star Wars. They saw the Hunger Games. They wanted those women in their audience. The Star Wars audience had stagnated. They had all of the boys they were going to get. And so the idea was, if we can lose some of these boys, bringing in some of these girls, but if we bring in half of those girls and just lose a little bit of these boys, we end up with a bigger, larger audience.
We got Raylos because of it, and it drove Jay-Z Ridley off the internet.
Yeah, well, everybody drove everybody off the internet in the last couple of years. But that said, no, but that was the, well, I'm of the opinion that phase has maybe now kind of done. And I would not be surprised. This is just a theory, though, that Black Panther showed that Black audiences are huge nerds and that they're like catered to us too. And so I think that maybe that might be part of that. Like let's try and take this, make this audience less homogenous. That's just a theory, and we'll have to see how it goes. But when I was looking at the reports from Jeff Snyder that the leads in the Lindelof film were Black actors, and then we have the Lando thing, you start to see a picture that does kind of mirror what we had in the decade past, but instead of it being women, it is dark-skinned actors. We'll see.
I don't know any kid in my nephew's range, man, black or white, and he's got both kinds of friends, that were looking to Lando when they were thinking of Star Wars. They might play Mace Windu, they might play like an alien cool-ass Jedi, but Lando's the bottom of that fucking list, man. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah, I don't think you attract, like, people under my age or Astru's age to this.
Yeah.
As it's true. How's the Lando stock going for you? You think that's the new Bethesda game? The Lando game? You think they're?
I think it's not a big audience, but there is an audience, like from what I've seen, like people. I think, but it's more Donald's fans. Like
if Lando kills a bunch of kids, you think they'll like it more? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
Well,
it doesn't matter. Like as long as kids die, people like my age group will prefer that over anything else. So
I'll toss a softball for Bespin. The toys that don't sell for Star Wars are Lando toys. Like
right,
you go to the stores and you look at what's hanging on the pegs, and you can find Landos almost every store you go to.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is the case. Like,
it is.
Even
Santa
I see
won't
a lot
even
of
give
Moff
them away
Gideons.
for free. That's how bad it is. Like,
I see a lot of Moff Gideons hanging as well. Like, that's not. I don't mean that in the way Jason's gonna take it, but yeah, there's a lot of Moff Gideons on the shelves. Like, anytime I go into a store, I say because I know he probably had a grin inside, But
I don't know what you're talking about. You sound disgusting to me right now.
And if you go back, also Leia doesn't sell. Leia, Lando.
Well, a version would, but they refuse to accept.
They won't make that one. Yeah.
Well, depending on who you on this panel you like side with, you have you would have the biases of adult collectors who are overlooking it for their own cultural assumptions, potentially. And then if kids are the ones who are buying it, it's because or not buying it. It's likely because there's the play value just isn't there. Like a Moff Gideon. Oh, what am I? I'm going to do some Imperial paperwork now.
No, look, kids. This is what I was going to hammer Bespin with: is they're not asking for Star Wars toys. They're not asking for Marvel toys. They're not asking for GI Joe toys. They're not asking for any, even the other popular movies, Spider-Man, Marvel. None of it. None of it. They're not asking for any of that stuff. What they want are Minecraft. They want Lego and Fortnite.
Yeah.
All day long. And then add Barbie. If you wanted to sell some Star Wars toys, especially to girls, make tons of Barbies with Star Wars theme. They would sell.
Yeah, but Grogu is a thing that did sell. Like when he came out, like that first 2 years, he was.
It's not a Star Wars issue. When you go back and you talk about when we were kids and the aisles had all these toys, it was different times. And
I think my podcast did rile him up. To be fair,
he's still going.
Well, it reminds me what I always used to say about Boba Fett. When they would talk about the Boba Fett film, there would always be like some person on Twitter that's like, I don't want your Boba Fett movie and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I can understand why Boba Fett maybe didn't work for you or hasn't, convinced you that he should have his own series or film. But that's the opportunity. That's the proving ground. Now, I'm of the opinion now, Boba Fett doesn't really deserve anything now. I'm like, kind of like, we did it. Okay, I'm good. Let's move on now. But in terms of the Orlando thing, that's how you do it. Like, if everything has to be proven before it gets a film, we're never going to get it anywhere.
But why do we need like, if you were talking about like Black Panther inspiring a black audience and cinema goers, why does it need to be Lando? Why can't we just have?
I think with Lando starting on second base. You know what I'm saying? Like for it, like if you start from scratch, you got to hit the complete home run. But if you start with Lando, there's at least a familiarity. There's at least something there to begin to play with. Yeah, that would be my assumption from their perspective.
Well, my assumption is the reason this is a movie is because that's what Donald and Steven wanted.
Oh yeah,
and they gave into it.
Yeah.
I'm with Rob. I've said this to you like off air before Rob mentioned it.
Leading man.
I think Lando would only make about $400 million if it's lucky.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a
lucky.
It's a big movie. Yeah, and with Donald, by the way, like he isn't a proven movie star. Yeah, he's had like hits on TV. Well,
but they could just
even
create an original character who's African American and be a Jedi.
That's where I was going with it. Yeah.
Totally. Look, these kids, man. Look, these kids. They just want fucking lightsabers. They want lightsabers and blasters and giant robots and cool ass shit. And my black nerd friends want Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Zord fights, and Dragon Ball Z fights.
Why are you always drawing? Why are you always
Attack on Titan?
Rob,
huh?
we
Don't even get me started. It's bane of my fucking life. I'm stuck with this stupid thing. So like I don't even want to do it, but I'm stuck with it. Somehow it keeps chasing me, Jason, like a fucking Slender Man. So like a guy who ran a mining colony ain't getting the black nerds all riled up, dude. I'm just telling you right now, man. That ain't it,
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea as a movie. Like, again, the script could be good, the movie itself could be good, but in terms of bringing a large audience to theaters, I don't think it's a good idea. I think you'll get the hardcore Star Wars
fans. Lando ain't Miles Morales. Lando's not Miles Morales, dude. I'm sorry. This is not. Miles Morales has superpowers. Lando, what's he do? He don't even have the Falcon in this timeline. Like,
well, the problem with Lando is that his superpower is charm, and whoever's writing it needs to be really fucking charming, and pull it off. Not like like it's sort of the Thrawn problem. He's a tactical genius.
But do you think Lando being charming is going to make it a $600-800 million movie?
That's the whole thing. Is if
I think if he's charmed, I think if it's well written, if it's look at Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse movie made less than $400 million, and that was a fantastic movie. It just did well later on due to word of mouth, winning an Academy Award.
I would literally take Lando and I would make it a scam story, and I would make it like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. You know what I'm saying? Like I would make it where it was
Donald Glover's gonna have a cork and a fork, dude. Like...
Yes. But but I mean that's at the but I am with you guys. Like number one, something that Bespin has said and I've agreed with, and I'm not stealing it. We'll never cite you again for it. Is that Star Wars is not going to make $1 billion every outing, and the first ones when they come back, it's unlikely. And most films aren't doing $1 billion just because it has a name attached to it that says Star Wars or Marvel anymore.
If anything, we're seeing long-running franchises dwindle at the box office.
Yeah. But it like I said, it's still an opportunity. Lando's a character who is in important pieces of Star Wars history. He's in The Empire Strikes Back. He's in Return of the Jedi, and
he's in Solo: A Star Wars Story. Don't forget that.
He's in Solo: A Star Wars Story and Episode 9, the one I forgot about. And so when you put
Episode 9,
yeah, I heard that.
He was in Star Wars Rebels.
Can you confirm it's your favorite Star Wars film that he's in it?
I actually watched it the other day, and yes, I can confirm.
I love that you love it. I really do. It does.
Even a broken clock's right twice a day, right, Jason? You know what I mean?
But anyways, like he's there, so there's an opportunity. It doesn't mean that it will be capitalized on. I would not blame anybody for having low confidence in their ability to capitalize on it. But the fact that I said, I do believe he has to be charming as fuck. And when you have the writers like Donald Glover's doing it, his brother who knows him, like his brother is going to know his capabilities. His brother's going to know him more than most people. And
his brother got Donald's best work, in my opinion, out of it, which is Atlanta.
Yeah. So it's.
Will it be rated NC-17 because Lando fucks a robot for 15 minutes, like in slow mo, like Matrix 2 style, you right, Santa? You know what I mean? Like get real moody with it. Put on the Jamba music, you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah. Ludwig's gonna do the score for it,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Ahsoka season 2. Ahsoka season 2, The Mandalorian season 4, and Dave Filoni's Mandalorian crossover event film. I'm putting these 3 projects together as they seem quite tied to one another's development. Dave Filoni's Star Wars film, which will act as a crossover event for live-action Disney Plus series. He's been a producer of such as The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka is expected to be released in December of 2026, the second Star Wars movie of that year. However, in a past article from The Hollywood Reporter, it was revealed that Filoni's flick releasing within that window was dependent on the production timeline and release of the 4th season of The Mandalorian and a possible second season of Ahsoka yet to be greenlit.
And the Coke budget. Don't forget, it's dependent on that.
Those 2 series would release in advance of the crossover film, but with the WGA strike, development on both Ahsoka season 2 and the crossover movie have been hampered, likely having a significant impact on the production timelines of both projects. Jon Favreau stated that he had completed the scripts for The Mandalorian season 4 ahead of the release of The Mandalorian's 3rd season. I've heard that's actually not final scripts, by the way. Production was due to begin in late September, but was indefinitely delayed due to both the WGA strike and the SAG-AFTRA strike. Though there's been resolution for the WGA, there's currently no resolution for SAG, meaning that the filming on the 4th season is still on hold indefinitely. The delay on the production and release of The Mandalorian season 4 will cause a domino effect and impact both Ahsoka season 2 and Filoni's crossover film.
Hold on, Jason. Azure has 30 seconds before he has to go, right? So I just want to know, do you think they should do the movies as a live service? Like just like release like 10 minutes of it every week for like a year. Give you like a movie pass, right? A movie battle pass or something like that.
That actually would increase YouTube views. Therefore, yes.
Yes.
One of those Phantom Menace guys is like, what if they made it where we could change the skins of the actors? Okay. Anyways,
he meant literally. He just wants to.
Yeah, he
literally.
did mean literal.
Yeah.
The delay of the production. Okay, so all right. Sorry. As do you have to go like right now? Or
I will be going in a moment, but I will be back because there's still stuff to talk about. So
cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
it shouldn't be too long, but
just pop out and pop back in whenever
right.
you need to.
If I don't come back, I'm sorry, but I hopefully should be.
If you don't come back, Santa will cry, and I'll hold him, and I hope you feel bad. All right. No worries, dude. Some might think that Filoni's film being over 2 years away, that there's enough time, but that's not the case. Granted, there's enough of a window for Filoni to write, shoot, and release his film, but his film is dependent on The Mandalorian Season 4 and Ahsoka Season 2, with only one of which being written and neither of which is being shot. The last season of The Mandalorian took 6 months to film and released an entire year after principal photography concluded. Ahsoka Season 1 took 6 months to film, but had a shorter run in post-production. Released
Part one. Why don't we just call it what it really
10 months out. I can't read. What? Say it?
I said it's not Season 1, it's Part 1.
I thought the episodes apart.
Season 1 took 6 months to film, but had a shorter run in post-production, releasing close to 10 months after principal photography wrapped. In both series operate on a similar timeline, and we included the crossover movie into this, just for shooting alone. It'll take around 18 months for all three projects, and that's not including post-production and release. Yeah, that that doesn't seem like it would be possible for one human.
No, it doesn't. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, is because it seems really unlikely to get all three of those projects shot, written, released within 3 years. Well, it's a bit less than Filoni needs to shoot his movie in 2025, basically. And can you see all of this happening by then? I don't see it. Mando can't film until probably next year, because even when they approve a new deal for SAG, doesn't mean that they'll jump straight into filming The Mandalorian Season 4. They have to try and schedule it with the actors and everything. Look at Pedro. When he was supposed to do Season 3 in April, they delayed it, and he went and did Last of Us. Never came back, and they wrote around that. So with this stuff, I see it as unlikely unless they work super fast. We know, from Favreau, he might not put a ton of effort into those scripts. So,
let me ask a question, because all these projects you mentioned, there was also a story that came out within the last week about a Skeleton Crew Season 2 potentially being greenlit as well, or in the process of. There's talks that the Skeleton Crew 2 was kind of given a nod. Is there anything to that?
Who was saying that?
Well, I'm asking you. Is there any validity
was Meg
to it?
doing that again? Was
she
doing you just don't want to rat out your friend, huh?
I think if there's a skeleton, they haven't greenlit an Ahsoka Season 2, and that was written in all the articles, and Rosario has been vocal about it. Yeah. I think they were waiting to see how it would perform. So with Skeleton Crew, they might have an idea of what a second season could be, but I think that without the show debuting and seeing what the audience actually is for it, there wouldn't be a season. Look at Boba Fett. Boba Fett had a lot of views, and it hasn't had a second season. But Filoni also doesn't write the Skeleton Crew. Neither does Favreau.
But with Skeleton Crew, so number one, just to answer your question, I don't believe there's a Season 2 of Skeleton Crew happening at this moment. I think that story was false or made up. I don't know who released it, but I don't believe that is actually true at this moment. But the thing about it, I think if you were to fake that story, what you would hedge your bets on is that these kids aren't getting any younger. So if you take 3 years to do Skeleton Crew Season 2, the kids are now 18 years old and not looking.
You just deep fake the little kid face on the big kid body, right? Yeah. And then it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, and I raised that possibility because from what we've heard and you've reported, the end of Ahsoka season 1 is not going to end the story in this Mandoverse as long as it goes with the Return of Thrawn, Ezra, so on and so forth, right? And that there's potentially a big left undone piece with Ahsoka potentially being left in Peridea.
How Ahsoka works is that every single season of one of these shows is 8 episodes, regardless of what Rob says. They're supposed to be 8 episodes. Sometimes they end up like 7, but they're supposed to be 8 episodes. And then what happens is those 8 episodes come out, but with Ahsoka, they know based off of Ahsoka's like cells, everything about her, that the show is highly likely to have a second season. Like they are in the opinion that it's highly likely.
Yeah.
So, and then as we've already seen now with the numbers and the back padding from Disney, it's going to happen.
So
like,
I'm just trying to put the pieces together as it goes towards this movie.
And Filoni has set it up where he will get a second season. Because otherwise they end up with the Clone Wars problem where where's the Clone Wars coming back for 10 years?
Well, and if the story isn't finished in Ahsoka, and there's some speculation, we've kind of chatted about it. This isn't a rumor or anything like that. There's some speculation that the story could resolve in the Skeleton Crew or continue on in the Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
And then an Ahsoka season 2, and then if all of these are building into and tying into like Mandalorian season 4, the eventual Filoni movie, if there's also a Skeleton Crew 2, which they're saying Daniel RPK was the source of the rumor.
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think they'll call it Skeleton Crude, right? Or Cruise?
All of that starts pushing that movie back further, right?
Well, I don't necessarily think the Skeleton Crew has to do that because, like I said, we'll just go off of Hollywood Reporter because that's a trade. They get the information from the companies themselves, like a lot of the time. So if they're saying that, so if they're saying that Ahsoka and Mando are the two that are crucial for the release of that, then that means even if there is a hypothetical season 2 of Skeleton Crew, it isn't substantial enough to need to come out before the Filoni movie.
Yeah,
like I haven't heard about a season 2 happening. I don't think Jason has either.
The thing that I always heard about a season 2 of Ahsoka was that everybody
not Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew.
Oh, Skeleton Crew. Yeah. I don't believe that anything has gone forward on that yet. And like when you look at at the time of that show, we were hearing that was the most expensive SoCal production and stuff like that.
$136 million, I think.
Yeah, they had to actually buy costumes this time. It was crazy.
Well, when you
blew up the budget.
Let's put it this way: when I was actually questioning if they filmed some of that tank moment down at the other location from the last episode of Ahsoka when they're riding in the tank. It kind of did look a little like where they were filming Skeleton Crew. But that area where they filmed Skeleton Crew is, I would say you could probably fit 6 areas where they filmed Mando in that area, in the Skeleton Crew area. The amount. So I imagine that when we're just on set and on locations in that show, I'm not going to say it's going to be Andor good, but it's going to be like, it might feel more Andor-esque. You know what I mean? But Santa's got a dip here in a sec. So whenever you got to go, dude, just
give you guys a heads up.
Cool. But and before I forget, thank you for the 499 super chat. Garth says, "Can we get a Lando movie with Idris Elba? Lando's like Space James Bond. Don Glover is a sarcastic kid. Don Glover is 40 years old, my friend. So he is as old as Billy D was when he played Lando originally.
Look how Trump acts, and he's in his 70s. And I mean, same could be. He's a what? He's a problem child.
I had an idea. This is what happens when I'm just being dumb and playing Fortnite with Bespin, and he has to hear my bullshit. I'm like, what if they made an orange tanner like what Trump uses, and it was called Ahsoka Tano? And you put it on, and it makes you orange.
Yeah, he was doing this. Yeah.
Huh? Come on, it's genius. All right, whatever.
Definitely not showing your dadness.
All right. Untitled Taika Waititi movie. Taika Waititi, Jojo Rabbit, was announced to be writing and directing a Star Wars. was announced to be writing and directing a Star Wars movie over 3 years ago in May of 2020. Since then, we've heard various minor updates on the project, with the most recent being that the filmmaker is attempting to crack the middle of the story, according to Taika himself in May. When the film was announced in 2020, Waititi was co-writing the project with 1917's Christy Wilson Cairns, who was still on the project in the fall last year. But since then, Kathleen Kennedy has implied that Taika is now running the project alone, and Jeff Snyder reported that other writers have also touched the Waititi project since it's been in development. Hey, should we say that? Should we say that thing, or should we not say that thing, Bespin? That we were talking about.
It's up to you, because they'll credit you. They won't credit me.
Well, we could credit both of us on this one. I mean, well, so I was talking to some sources. Hi, trash truck. Make sure you put that on Reddit that I said hi, trash truck, in it, so it makes sense. But yeah, we heard that Jason Sudeikis was involved with the Star Wars project a while ago, and I don't know if he fell off or dropped out or something like that, and like that's all that I heard. And then I brought that up to my sister Bespin, and then Bespin heard. What did you hear?
I did. It was linked to the Taika project like a year ago, or like I heard it early this year, but he could have been there a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's what I heard. It was like in the last like 2 years. Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious. I mean, I don't have a lot on that. That was just like I was thinking something that came up, and it came to you, and I was like, well, I don't know. Does Bespin count as my second source, or do I count as Bespin's second source? You know what I mean? Like, how do we go about that? But so did maybe he just read Taika's script and offered notes. Maybe it was just that simple, or maybe he was one of the other writers. And
I bet people love this, Jason, because they complain that Taika's too like humorous, like his film would be too comedic. If they know Jason Sudeikis might have been on this, I bet those people who are dead set against the Taika movie are losing an absolute shit.
And we know Stephen Knight's helping or Mangold's helping. I was confused on that one.
No.
Which one's helping?
Neither of them are helping.
Giving him notes? Who's giving him notes? Bob Dylan's giving him notes. Someone's giving Taika notes. What?
But yes, but well, the thing about what the people that haven't read or haven't seen anything that he's done and only know him from like SNL or something, is that his stuff also has a lot of heart, which is one of the attributes that Taika pats himself on the back for. He says his movies have a lot of heart and they're funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I could definitely see that having come. And the other aspect of it too that's probably fallen off is that he played one of the biker scouts in Mandalorian.
Taika's episode.
So right there, maybe that's where the
Bob Dylan played one of the bikers. Well, who are we talking about?
You're the one who's talking about Bob Dylan. I don't know.
I'm confused. Who are we talking
He's
about?
confused. You've confused yourself, Rob.
Huh?
Jason Sudeikis.
Rob
Sudeikis. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I never had it like concrete or anything like that, like what he was on. Just that, yeah, he was on something. He was involved in something.
Yeah.
And but there hasn't been anything about it in a long time. So I don't know if bye, Santa. So I don't know if Sudeikis just did his thing and left, or if it just never became something. I honestly don't know. I'm not trying to make it into a big thing, but I also think it's a really interesting thing, right?
I think it's interesting that both of us shared the name.
When they take a photograph of Sudeikis and Taika with the script, they'll just put a mustache on the script.
You want to know like what the irony? Want to know the irony of this is, Rob? I don't remember what you said, but we were talking about Taika, and we're talking about Taika's soccer movie, Next Goal Wins.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh, you mentioned something sarcastic about Ted Lasso. And that's what actually opened up, kicked that door open for me on that conversation. That's what took it there, is they saw you say that.
See, my jokes get results. My shit talking.
I can't argue with it. I won't argue with it.
Yeah, I get results.
You're a Ghostbuster.
I've worked in the private sector.
Yes, you have. And Jason Sudeikis should be a Ghostbuster. Stop fucking that up.
You really should.
You should be.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. It's dumb.
Fire Paul Rudd. That was a waste of time.
Paul Rudd and Sudeikis, man. Come on. Doesn't have to be one or the other.
Too white. It's too
well. I mean, have you seen Ghostbusters 1?
Yeah, I'm white, and that's a lot of whiteness.
I mean, even Ernie Hudson's white in that movie. All right.
He just saw shit that turned him white. It's different.
Also true. All right. Untitled James Mangold movie. The man behind Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, James Mangold, was announced to be working and directing a Star Wars movie in April of this year. The film itself is set to focus on the origins of the first Jedi and the discovery of the Force, and seems to be an idea that Lucasfilm has been fond of and wanted to develop a film for quite some time. Mangold was due to direct his next film, A Complete Unknown, a Bob Dylan biopic, in August, and was, oh great, you said Bob Dylan, Bespin, you messed us up now. In August, and was due to film until later this fall. However, due to both the WGA strike and SAG strike, production on that film was delayed. This is significant as Mangold was to focus his attention on his Star Wars film once the film had wrapped. But these plans, of course, had to be rightfully paused due to the 2 strikes. Lucasfilm previously announced 3 release dates for Star Wars movies: May 2026, December 2026, and December 2027. Earlier in this article, we mentioned that the first 2 dates were being eyed for the Rey Skywalker movie and the Mandalorian crossover event film. The third date, December 2027, was seemingly up for grabs, which films from Mangold, Waititi, and the Glovers all likely vying for that window. And yeah, I mean, like, and once again, like, do you even believe in that window at this point? I
don't believe anything they tell us. No.
Yeah, Disney has slots, right? I mean, Disney has their slots. So if we were to go and we were just like take slots. If we were to take all of Disney's slots and like, I mean, any of those could be, any film could be moved to any of those little targets.
Yeah, they've just put a little placeholder on it to say that, hey, this is like ours, and like at the moment it says untitled Star Wars movie in every one of those dates. But if they wanted to delay, I don't know, an Avengers movie, and it became May 2026, they could just take the Star Wars date.
What if the movie becomes Ray Lasso? She changes her name again, and she gets a mustache or a jacket. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is, instead of finding Dark Ray, she finds Lasso Ray, who's very positive and encouraging and has a mustache, and she has to confront that. But how long do you think Disney would be comfortable filming a movie and then keeping it in the can and not releasing it? Like, could they hold a film for 2 years before they like put it out? Like, is that even possible?
Not on what they made this year at the box office. Not with Haunted Mansions. I mean, maybe after the success of Endgame and and all that, they could have. But now, I told you, had they held on that, if they had just made episode 9 the right way and then held on to it, released it after the pandemic, that would have been a $3 billion film. Yeah. People wanted to see the big thing, and it's just, man, I don't know. Like, now they gotta have it. They need a win. Their biggest win is Guardians, and that guy is now the head of their competition. So
yeah. Ray of Water says Mangold said in May, I think he'll start writing his movie in October. Hopefully he keeps that promise.
And but now they've got to factor in the delayed production.
Like, yeah, they got that's true. But also, like, one of the things that I would just throw in there though is, I think doing the Dylan film, and I'm going to assume that he's an insane Bob Dylan fan. That one is probably a hell of a lot easier to get made and to write and everything like that than a Star Wars movie or an action superhero film or whatever, Indiana Jones or something. So on one hand, I do wonder how arduous that production will be for him and how fast it might be. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's what the debate is. If it's an easier movie to make and develop, but regardless, he still has to do it first.
Oh yeah. No,
like, no matter what, like the timeline that he had set out for himself has been altered. But again, this is supposedly, if his earliest of anything is 2027, if it even happens.
Yeah, so, and that's always what they've said.
Even then, it doesn't matter because it's like so far away.
Yeah,
he'll have essentially 2 years to write it and get in front of a camera.
Right.
So he's fine. Like, he also has that Swamp Thing movie that he's doing, which is, I think, it's a smaller scale than the other DC movies. But like, I don't even think any of these movies will happen. So
yeah,
like other than the Ray and Filoni movie, like
yeah. The Filoni one is like a natural trajectory, and I think if the Filoni one is let's just say it gets canceled, it will become a television series. It'll just become part of that. So we won't lose that story almost no matter what. It will be concluded. But
and it's the thing of as well, like you asked about can they hold a film for 2 years? That's why I think they'll delay the filming on the Ray one. I don't think it'll happen in April. I think it'll happen later. So it won't be 2 years. But if it gets delayed significantly, like in the writing process or in the production process, then they have the December date. If they needed to, they could move the Ray movie to December, Filoni to December 2027. Again, they already have a placeholder for both dates. So it could be that case. And we know Avatar's December 2028. So the next Star Wars movie after the December 2027 movie could be 2029, which means all of these people after Filoni have like 5 years to write that thing.
Yeah.
Or like develop it and get it released. So
if they can magically afford to keep some in the old Star Wars spank bank, I think they should though. You know what I mean? Like get ahead on the movies, and then that way when things fucking fall apart, it's like, well, now this one's coming out.
Maybe that's the plot of the Lando movie. They rob a spank bank.
Well,
right? Like
I mean, there have been times in the past, and obviously during a more prolific and profitable era, where there were 3 Star Wars movies in production at Pinewood at the same moment. You know what I mean? Like it has happened. So they've done it before, and I think maybe they'll do it again, but we'll see. Untitled Sean Levy movie. One of the most forgot about of the bunch of Star Wars movies.
No.
What?
Before you do this, legit question.
Okay.
What are the odds of them just run instead of doing a Skeleton Crew season 2, just doing a Skeleton Crew movie if that takes off? And then you know what I mean? Like what if they want to get a new fan base of kids into the theaters? Like what are the odds they just roll with that? They already have a movie director in charge of it. You know what I mean? Like
with how slow they are to react, I think by the time they did get there, they would be skipping the Spy Kids phase and going right to like, what's it like, Shark Man and Lava Boy or something, whatever the fuck that is. They would be, like I said, the kids are, I don't know, I'm just going to guess 13 maybe ish. And if it takes them 3 years, if it takes them that, by the time they figure it out, if they don't act now, like I said, they're going to be like young adults. And so that's where I'm a little bit, like I don't know what the viability of that like as a franchise is, other than them extrapolating the characters into other things as the stories go on. One of the kids,
they could appear in the Mandalorian crossover film anyway.
That's
always a possibility. So
100% they will. I would think so. Like
they just get blown up. Like, because you got to kill kids in these Star Wars movies to make them popular.
That's a good idea, Rob. We need to.
It's not my idea. I was suggesting.
No, I mean, look at what those. I honestly, I know everybody loves them, but me. I think the Avengers films are fucking atrocious. I think they're fucking dumb, and they're boring for the most part. And it's just like, look, it's me, and everybody's like, yeah, it's the Iron Man. Oh yeah, it's the Dota guy. No, and so it's gonna do
Jason
that. That's what
everything.
No, I do.
Oh, he's a Marvel hater, dude.
He's an elitist.
But
he won't let me listen to Stone Temple Pilots. All right, he won't let me do it.
I mean, they were like Motley Crue 2 months. Motley Crue, Skeleton Crew,
and he won't let me listen to Motley Crue either.
All right, how about this?
What about Motley Skeleton Crew? Can I listen to that?
That's what I'm saying, man. You stole my joke. All right.
Yeah.
I was going to say they go up, start a band, and then they're just like, fucking the modal nodes all over the world. All right. Anyways, Sean Levy. Okay. One of the most forgot about of the bunch of Star Wars movies announced in development is that Free Guy Sean Levy. It was confirmed in the fall of last year that Sean Levy is set to direct a Star Wars movie for Lucasfilm, and reports at the time claiming that the writer-director will focus his efforts on the Star Wars project once his next film, Deadpool 3, has wrapped and released. Deadpool 3 began filming in the spring, but production has been put on hold in July when the SAG strike began. The film is set for a May 2024 release, but due to the significant delays in production, it's likely the release date will no longer stick. This is significant as the delay as delays on the Deadpool production will hinder the development of Levy's Star Wars film, which he shared he just started developing before the WGA strike. As mentioned, Waititi, Mangold, and Glover's Star Wars films are likely chasing that unclaimed December 2027 release.
Did you say white titties, dude? Like Waititi.
Waititi.
He said titty.
Titty. Wow, big old titties. And the reason I did include Levy on that list is that it appears his project is the least development and the furthest away. But it's kind of it reminds me of what we always talk about, Bespin. We're like that one movie that they just made up on the fly right now. Might be like the first one they do. That one that just comes out of nowhere. And that could be Levy in the end. I mean, for like
it
all we
be.
know. Yeah, it's I mean, who knows? That's why like it's number one, good article, it's very thorough, and like all of the that's pretty much I think lays it all out there like about what everything looks like.
What if Levy's making a Porkins film because they want to appeal to the fat people like me? Like, they want to get us, and they got a good McDonald's tie-in ready,
You're skinniest out of us all, Rob,
Yeah.
They got a specific Porkins McRib ready to go, right? The red liter, a
red 2 liter of soda.
Yeah, red
every meal.
That kind of marketing gets me on board, right?
That's what they done. They should have done for Ahsoka. A soda.
That's what
it should have been.
Yeah. Soda. I'm going in red 2 liter. All right. Yeah. Anyways, though, like we're likely in the coming weeks to start to get news on how things are looking, how things are going forward. And like I don't think we're like there yet. I think the first round of info is going to likely be very fake.
We could get some stuff. Like yesterday, Variety put out like what some of the studios are up to and what they're prioritizing.
Tell me about the Minecraft thing.
Oh yeah, yesterday, like in that Variety article, they were like sure to mention that the script for Minecraft is now done and looking to film in April. I'm like, that's the thing that they prioritized. And was like,
yeah.
Can you have held on to that
like several years ago? Like Notch moved to LA back in like 2013, right? Like,
it's gone through like many writers.
But the idea that the strike has been over for one day and now the Minecraft movie's finished. Wow, magic. Can you guys believe he only needed one more day of writing?
What a coinky dink.
Wow.
Hold on. Dot that I, done. Oh, now we can go. Minecraft, forgot the I.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so I think we could get, like I said, they came from many studios what they're prioritizing. Like Netflix is focusing on Wednesday season 2 and the 5th season of Stranger Things. Paramount mentioned Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 2.
I gotta deal with this for a second. Wasn't Solo tied in with Denny's for marketing? That's a restaurant. I'm talking fast food. We've had this conversation many times. It's got to have a drive-through for this to work. Okay, you can't go in and sit down and have the Han Solo breakfast. It's fucking weird.
You can just pull up to McDonald's, be like, "I would like a soda."
No, you got to walk into Jack in the Box. I want it faster and more intense, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got. That's how it works. French toast sticks.
She was like, "Let me in." With
hey
my
guys, he's like Rick Moranis and Ghostbusters. Hey guys, let me in.
He's like Eric Andre.
With my current setup, I have like a monitor up here. That's why everybody's like, "Why are you looking up all the time now?" And my camera's down here, and my camera's right in front of where you popped in, so I couldn't see.
That's true. Now that you came back, I wanted to bring this up about Epic Games. You ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
So Epic Games, remember that back in December, they agreed to pay a total of $520 million to settle U.S. government allegations that it misled millions of players, including children and teens, into making unintended purchases, that it violated a landmark federal children's privacy law. Is that the end of live service games for kids? You think $520 million fine?
Other games were fine not doing what Epic did. Like I saw the stuff Epic was doing, like a comparison, because they obviously was testing it between like various countries, and like it was insane. It was like how like Amazon's been done for it, like where you're trying to cancel Prime, like the button changing and stuff. Like what they was doing in Fortnite was insane. Like I think in the UK it was actually really bad. Like the UK was one of the ones where there was like made it really difficult to really easy, I should say, to like you like equip a skin, it like buys it basically. Like
Yeah.
It was insane. But
Well,
I,
and then
you know,
they were when the parents would complain, they would close the account. Is what I had read as well. Like they would be like, okay, your account's done.
It's weird because a lot of the stories I heard like before all of this, like it's usually FIFA that like kids overspend. Like they just, but like usually what happens is like EA like refund like it because it's like a local newspaper that reports on it. EA is like, yeah, we'll just refund you. Like it's whatever. But this Epic one, like you lose $500 million and your player base is on the decline. Okay, let's raise the prices of the in-game currency that people are still paying for, and then we'll get rid of 1,000 people. Instead of taking, pay cuts from the top, which is obviously what all companies should be doing, but it never happens. And actually, I think Nintendo did it. That's what Nintendo did happen to Nintendo for quite some. There was like a famous people use that as like a reference. Like other companies can do it, they just obviously choose not to because Nintendo did it.
Can we sue Nintendo for friend codes just because we're really fucking done with them? You know what I mean? Can we?
For all the good they do, the bad stuff they do is just like
I've run into friends and they started talking about like Mario Kart and Nintendo, and I've like literally thought about like the friend code thing, and I've been like, I gotta go.
I just realized as the two dipped right as we were about to start the article, I returned as soon as he finished.
Yeah.
I think he did not want to talk about any of these movies.
I've actually found all this interesting. Like I've been feeding, like I was telling my friends, like who I knew working on stuff, like this strike's coming. Like they was like didn't know about it. Like you guys were the only ones talking about it before everyone else. Everyone was surprised when it happened, and it's like no.
And that's what was funny when they started going after like Bespin over running.
Yeah.
And when the shit was coming, we were the ones who they were coming to and being like, "This is all fucked up."
Yeah, here's the thing. This takes me into something else that annoyed me. Like it was like this just makes me want to quit. Like
don't even go there.
Do it.
Basically, there's some Star Wars Eclipse news. It's minor, but like I'm gonna report on it because it's still something, right? It talks about the game and this, that, and the other. So as I made the video, I was like, okay, what I usually do is if I'll search up on YouTube, like, has someone else like made the video already? Like, or has someone else like made something else recently, like the past week or so? And there was barely any videos, but there was one video that had over 100,000 views. And it was 10 minutes of reading an article that was an opinion piece, but the video said it was news. And it was just potentially AI generated article, I think, but also the article was just like talking about if Yoda's origins in the game, whatever, right? But like it's just a pure opinion piece. It's not news. It was just some journalist being paid per article to. It was to put out
you can be honest.
a crap article, and this had 100,000 views. It was the best bit because it was more than 300 words. Like it was less than 300 words.
It was AI generated.
It was either AI generated or Bespin. We can't tell.
No. It was like really short. Where Bespin's articles are actually long. Like this was like literally the absolute minimum. And I was like, I read it. I was like, where's the news? Right.
Yeah.
So that's 100,000 people. Like, oh yeah, news. Right. 10 minutes video. They've taken in that 10 minutes of mindless AI potential article. So I was like, I'm going to post this video that actually is news and get like 1,000 people to watch it.
Yeah.
What's the point? What's the point? Like no one cares. Like, and I read the comments, and there wasn't that many for 100,000 views, which was a bit weird. But like a lot of the comments were like just unhinged stuff. Like fire Kathleen Kennedy. No one cares about this. Great, thanks for the news. Yeah, this is awesome. Like, and I was like, this isn't
Kathleen
news.
Kennedy took me to a motel room and she robbed me. Sorry, Esther. I just wanted to.
What he means is he ended up in the room and I was there. Right?
Jonesy says Kathleen Kennedy's contract expires in 2024, and according to internal sources, no internal sources, she will not extend the contract. In 2025, we will have a new president. The witch will be gone, and the future looks bright. Yeah, no, if that's a
night witches don't die though. Like we've seen that.
Remember when John
Marin
Kennedy
and whatnot,
a step down after Indiana Jones releases? Remember that one?
Remember when she was supposed to shut down after Indiana Jones released, and then Indiana Jones fucking bombed hard, and she's still there.
Oh, shut up! Yeah. We all know who said that. You know, we all know who said it. One of the biggest movie YouTubers that it is.
Yeah,
Great
it's all.
sources.
Yeah. The thing about it, one thing I don't know, nobody knows what will happen because nobody knows how it will happen, but it's going to have more of a handoff feel, I think, than just overnight Kathleen Kennedy is, on Skid Row. You know what I mean?
Like that would require actually thinking and analyzing the situation with more nuance than just like saying she's leaving. Which most people,
one of the reasons we know she isn't going to leave in 2024, even when her contract expires, is through multiple people like Jason and Snyder. They've said that the 2025 movie, which is now May 2026, Hell or High Water, that movie has to come out.
Yeah.
They've said that Snyder said it more recently than Jason, but Jason said it initially, Hell or High Water. Snyder said that her job is now dependent on that movie. So, actually releasing. So, that gives her there at least another 1.5 years, 2 years. So, she's going to sign an extension. And there's been no Star Wars movies since 2019, but Star Wars has been successful on TV, and they're going to let her have a shot at another movie. Yeah, but they're going to let her have another shot at a movie, at least one of them.
I'm just gonna suggest that maybe Kathleen Kennedy has the career threads of destiny. Whenever she dies, a witch just comes and ties a red ribbon around her like career, and then it comes back to life. That's the only explanation I have. I mean, it's as realistic as the stories that she's always fired.
Oh, always fired. Ryan's movie's always canceled. Tiger's movie's always canceled. Always happened.
Yeah. It's like it's just people hedging bets, and then eventually like they'll like
that one was the most like hedging their bets ever. That's like story of she's already been fired, but she might go before Indiana Jones or after Indiana Jones. We don't know. One of them though.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that like one just big sign about what the future looks like is the fact about what movie she's producing, because that's like the other thing is she's still going to get paid if they fire her. I'm pretty sure she's going to get paid for all 5 or 6 of these movies still. And you have Kathleen Kennedy, who is a fantastic producer. I mean, anybody who says otherwise just
one
doesn't
of the best
know
of all time.
Yeah, she's like the Beatles of producers. She's up. She's one of them. Maybe she's the Ringo, but she's still a fucking Beatle. And
she stopped dogs being fed to gators on Temple of Doom,
but she could not stop Mutt from killing dogs after Crystal Skull. So she ain't perfect.
Yeah,
she ain't perfect.
You know what? It's an even washout. Right, it balances out.
When Rob said about the dogs and the gators, I knew Shia LaBeouf was coming. I just knew it.
Yeah, it's happening. It's gonna happen. The real catastrophes of Kathleen Kennedy's career are Shia LaBeouf and M. Night. Let's be honest. That's her fault. Both of those are her fault. Garth
and
Knight,
episode 9.
Okay, before 99 super chat. Ward, I think there's a little bit of Rejuan on that. Ward, KK robbed you a lot more than $26.38. A couple expired polygraphic at the Santa Monica Super 8. 2638. Where is this motel? I need that one. I think every time I've gone to a motel, they've been like $60 to $80.
And every time I see the word prophylactic, I hear Frank Oz say it. One use prophylactic soil.
Yeah, I'll never learn how to read, but in terms of all of that jazz and stuff about Kathleen Kennedy, it's just like all of it's irrelevant. And the truth is, like I said, with her as a producer, I think she will eventually move out of the role and somebody obviously will come in. She is 70 years old. So there is a point in her. I'm of the opinion. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that
I just for some reason I heard what's it from True Lies? She's got an ass of a 12-year-old boy.
Well, I don't know what
You
you're
know what I
talking
mean?
about.
Yeah,
No,
fucking,
I
you
don't.
know,
I haven't seen
Hudson.
True Lies since I was like 9.
Hudson. What's his face? The guy who died.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't remember the movie that well. But Abyss is coming out on Blu-ray, 4K. So there you go.
Yeah. Did you listen to the interview? I actually sent it to you.
No, I didn't get a chance to listen to it.
Yeah, they recorded it.
What do you call it?
Bill Paxton.
Bill Pullman.
Not Pullman. Pullman's the guy from ID4. Bill Paxton.
Yeah. But no, but my point is that like Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, they're not immortal. They might be getting the blood of virgins injected into them every day and like rejuvenating all of their cells. But eventually dementia is like a thing. She can't go on forever. Like
I don't know, man. Like Mitch McConnell's still in office. Dianne Feinstein still.
Imagine. So Kathy, are we gonna do the Orlando movie or are we gonna do this new JJ one?
Yeah, they just wheel her out. You know,
she looked up. That means the JJ one because he's in that direction. And that's all the questions.
She looked up looking for a lens flare.
It's a sign. It's a sign. But yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you the sign. It's a sign of going out of business.
The thing is, though, people genuinely do think George, at his age, will be buying back Star Wars, will be directing his trilogy. Like age doesn't. It's not a thing. Like it's insane. Like age is irrelevant to them. Like,
let's just put it this way for the next time that comes up. Everybody, go and look up George Lucas's last appearance. Look up George Lucas's last appearance before that.
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Look at Look at the time between those appearances, and then look at George walking by himself.
Look at George standing by himself.
Yes, yeah, and there's nothing. There's no shame in that at all. The guy is not a spring chicken. He's lived a life, and it's like so when people say this shit, I'm like, Jesus Christ, do you guys know where we live? Do you guys know what planet you're on? Do you guys know that people, get old, they die, they become unable to work, and it's just like it's not possible.
If you ask these same people about 5G, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Just letting you know, these are not sane people,
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. Garth gave a 499 super chat and said, honestly, if KK did stop dogs from being fed to gators in Temple of Doom, I don't care how terrible Star Wars she greenlights. Kudos, KK. Yeah, but like I said,
is that like the line? Just like don't allow dogs to be like gators.
No, what it was they had to figure out how to do the gator scene where they're rolling around with the bodies. And so she went to a gator farmer out in Florida and asked about it. He's like, well, we can throw some dogs in there. And she's like, no. And they're like, well, or we could do the chicken thing where they put chicken meat around. Yeah, let's do the chicken meat around it. Yeah. Florida.
Yeah. Anyways, though, what will happen in my opinion is if there's nothing like some unforeseen thing doesn't happen, that's just like really bad at Disney or something. She will likely finish producing all of the films that she has geared up to make. She will make the movies that she plans to make, and then eventually she will not be a part of those films. When you start seeing Kathy's name not attached as a producer to those projects, to upcoming projects, that's when we know she is truly being integrating.
The real world problem, though, Jason. But the real world problem is that if she did step down and someone took over, generally what happens in a regime change at any movie studio is they cancel every project currently in development because they don't want credit if that thing tanks. So if a Filoni movie's in or it's still in pre-production and she steps down and someone comes in, that Filoni movie can be dissolved.
It could be, but the difference on Star Wars, like for instance, Lando, when they make Lando is a thing that will eventually happen. And when they do, if they redo Lando from the ground up, I still think she's going to end up with the producing credit on it. So a lot of those projects, a lot of the things that Star Wars already has in motions and Star Wars' serialized content, I don't think it's as black or white on that one. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, but she also has the best reps in the world, so she's not somebody to fuck with.
Like and cardio?
So I mean, like.
Oh,
The Force is female. She won't stop, bro. She won't stop. She's going.
Yeah.
But no, but I mean, I do think when I am of the opinion that when Kathy goes, it's going to be on Kathy's terms. And
yeah, I'm agreed. Unless she doesn't get that 2026 movie out, which has been the thing of she needs to get that happen.
Not kidding though. What if Iger just made her his successor? What if he skipped another Bob and just went right to a Kathy and put her in charge of Disney?
Yeah. No,
he's supposedly staying on past his contract now, right? He's supposedly planning to stay past 2026.
Yeah, and like there are issues with being quote ageist and stuff like that in corporations, obviously. But a lot of people are like, what the fuck? Like you're so like Iger is up there. Iger's retirement age. It is time for Iger to move on. It's time for them to find the person who can do the next 20 years of like Disney, and they're not doing it. And honestly, I don't think his ego is going to allow them to do it. I think his ego is going to keep him firmly in place until he just walks away. And
well, he needs to rebuild his reputation after this strike stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot of articles.
Ron Perlman's still ready to hunt him down.
Ron Perlman still needs to take him to the octagon. That's what I say. But as a true, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. By the way, I can only stay for 2 hours. All right, I gotta go.
Yeah. See you later. Bye, Best Ben. Talk to you in a bit. Yeah. So, what's up, dude?
Oh yeah. So the Eclipse stuff. So what really annoyed me is I spend a lot of time actually researching the tiniest bits of information. Like as soon as it's put out there, I'm on it and I'm tweeting about it. Yeah. So I put it out there, and my tweets have been doing really, really well. And then all the big accounts just straight up copy the tweet, don't even link the original source, which I do, and then they take all the credit for it. And I'm like, you at least include the original source.
Yeah.
Like we did. Don't just take the copy without the source. It's
do you think all the Star Wars fans do you think they're more likely to say they got it from AI than they give you credit? Like they would just lie and say AI made this up, then give you credit. Like
they don't respond. Like they just don't answer at all. But what's frustrating is I try to give as much context as possible, and algorithms. It's all about algorithms, right? So the shorter the tweet is, the better it does. If you include a link to a tweet, therefore it's not going to show up on algorithms. But I always include the original source. So, for example, the Cameron Monaghan story where he confirms Jedi 3, it was someone that went to the Comic-Con and filmed the entire panel and put it on YouTube. I happened to watch it, and right at the end, I was like, okay, I'll post it. So I posted the full link. All of Reddit and all of Twitter, everyone that copied my stuff, what I found, just never linked it, except for a couple of accounts. I'm like, why? It's just a YouTube video. Just put it in the tweet. Oh no, because it harms impressions and Twitter money. And the thing is, they're massive accounts, the usual ones, right? With hundreds and millions of followers, right? Well, because they tweet anything and everything, well, it gets lost, but it still does well because it's Star Wars. But for an account my size of 30,000, it got the same amount, but it's at least I sourced correctly, right? But on top of that, because I included the full context, and people can go check because when people not linking the source, all the comments were source. Has he said that where? It's well, if they got to see my tweet, they'd see the source. It's clicks. They click it goes straight to that. Same with the Eclipse thing, right? So IGN posted an article. They interviewed one of the top people at Quantic Dreams and asked them about Eclipse, and she said it's in development and it's got no game over screen and every character can die and whatnot. So I posted it and I linked to the article. And in the article, it talks about how that's all Quantic Dreams games. All the characters can die, things like that. It's one of the stuff, and elaborates further. Well, all the replies was just that's too ambitious. No one's ever done that and stuff like that. I was if you just So I was just spent time replying as much as maybe this game doesn't ever come out, and it's been through stuff and whatnot, but at least there's other reasons why. It's just annoying. And no one watched my video, but everyone watched the other videos that
I watched your video,
not even news. So It's just
but
like
I gave you a thumbs down because it was too long. What?
I can't see it anyway.
I ain't got
it's
time
fine.
for that. You know, you got to use AI to trim your scripts, buddy. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
what sucks is those big Twitter accounts. So they'll like take your story, they'll take the thesis of the article or whatever, they'll paste it, and then they at best they will do an at you, but I don't need more Twitter followers. I need
I don't think either
know?
they are absolutely ignorant and stupid, or they know it on purpose. Now, for me personally, because I've been doing social media for half my life now, I know these ins and outs. The conversion rate
2003
isn't there. Like if you got like a shout out on like a 10 million viewed YouTube video, 1,000 people might subscribe. Like that's it, 1,000 out of 10 million people. It's irrelevant. So what's a tweet like tagging you going, oh, you're going to get spam with notifications for the next day or so? Oh, great, that's it. Some people will click on your account and look at it. They're not going to follow like it. They need to like instantly just click one button and there. Like there's too many layers to it, and these accounts either do know they do it on purpose because they don't want people following them, giving traffic to like people they just steal from, or they are just completely ignorant, which is possible. But it's like you're doing this for a living. Maybe learn, like instead of just cheating your way, basically. So it is frustrating because recently
I want to do As a True React videos where I just play your videos, but I'm on a treadmill and I just walk in front of it. Right? We can do that, Jason. Right? We can get our steps in and get paid right off of As a True's hard efforts.
Well, that's the thing. Is like recently, like Twitch streamers, like the biggest streamers in the world, have just been reacting to YouTube videos without actually reacting. Like sometimes even leaving the room, right, and just leaving it playing. And like, it's like it's been it's something I've been following really closely, and it's been
I watched Hiker's streams, and he gets up to like take like a shit or something, leaves and just leaves it on.
So like XQC is like really egregious, and like he reacted to one of my Battlefront videos, like that was insane, like 40,000 people like watching. Yeah, like this is what annoyed me. Like Battlefront 2 ended, and then like all the big streamers were like, oh, actually this is a really good game. Why didn't I play it for the past 3 years? So they all started playing it. So that bumped up the game even more, but the game was over. So they were searching up videos, and it was just my videos from like a month ago saying the game's over. And it was just like, they didn't know what was going on. But like, at least they enjoyed the game and brought people to it. But yeah, so like, it's been a whole thing. And it's just like, there's no, like, if you create something or share something, whatever, like, people sharing your stuff, it's meaningless, basically. So do it correctly if you ever actually do share anything, please. Because, like, the person that went to the Comic-Con and filmed it, like, no one else filmed it. And, like, it wasn't being filmed. Like, that's good. Like, it was good questions. It was, like, the first interview we've had with Cameron and Tina since the game came out. And they got to talk about the game. So, and it's stuff like journalists aren't going to, like, be doing and stuff like that. So, they're more focused on literally coming up with rage bait, like, to get clicks.
Seriously, this is the problem when actual media sites disappeared, got bought up and got run out of town. You used to be able to go to GameSpot, 1UP, whatever, to get actual gaming info. Leaving it entirely up to the wild west of YouTube, which doesn't care about quality, it cares about whatever, I watched some stupid video on how it works. You make a video and then the audience that's already interested in the thing you made, and it only shows it to them.
You're born a sociopath, and then you do sociopathic things, and then you get rewarded on YouTube.
Right. These people, they ain't looking for answers. They're looking for like getting riled up, like that's it. That's what we're talking about.
For every positive, like, let's say I make 100 videos, there's like maybe 5 negative videos, right? So, and they may be the ones that do best. That's just how it is. But like, whenever there's like news, people will just spin it to be negative, and then no one actually watches the video. They just read the title, and if they don't click on it, that's it, right? Like, I'm guilty of it in a way because like I have to do it to keep going, but like I still do it reasonable, right? I'm still offering like a reason why you should click, but like straight up saying, oh, let's say it probably didn't happen, but like let's say Star Wars Outlaws in trouble because the creative director has left, right?
You heard it here, guys. As a True exclusive. Clip that.
His friend quit.
If you post that question that he quit or he leaves, right? Okay, I could have done that. He leaves. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's left." Well, actually, I'll say in the video, no, he's not. He's leaving after the game's done, but they won't get that far.
Remedy Civil War. Remedy Civil War.
It's like with it's like
not Remedy, not Respark. What
are
they called?
Neither.
What are they called? Respawn.
Ubisoft.
Respawn Civil War. There you go.
Well, that's another thing. It's like there is obviously a lot of people based on the news of like Stig. Like everyone's taken the news of Stig as the third game's not going to happen, right? And I'm like, I know we've been burned quite a few times, but like, not everything apply. Like, it doesn't apply to this situation. Like, it requires a bit more thinking than just following no Force Unleashed 3, no Battlefront 3, and things like it doesn't work like that. And it's like Star Wars 1313, right? We posted like a trailer of it because it was like, we know what we could do. Like, people like want 1313, so we'll post about it. And like people were saying, like we posted just the trailer, like because I think it was I found out something like recently that was on like a podcast, like a developer, and I mentioned it, and then like that did really well. So I was like, oh, let's just like showcase like some footage of 1313. And then like all the replies was like, oh, like Kathleen Kennedy cancelled it, and like this was cancelled because for like Fallen Order, and I was like just complete works of fiction, like literally all made up. And it's like they just have this narrative. Like another thing was, our Battlefront stuff has been doing really, really well recently because there is a hunger for a live service Star Wars game. Everyone's like in this gaming Star Wars community wants a live service Star Wars game. So Battlefront's like, again, with Ahsoka, whenever there's a new live action project, Battlefront is what they want to watch Ahsoka, and then after that, jump on Battlefront and play with Ahsoka or whatever the other content is, right? And they can't do that.
Right.
So everyone's like, want a live service game. And then people was just straight up like making lies about like how it's pay to win. And I was like, they turned microtransactions off the day before the game came out. And they're like, well, that's not what so-and-so told me. That's not. I was like, yeah, because everyone lied back then. All the media lied pretty much, like in some way. Like it had issues. But
careful, Azatru. You're one step away from fake news in us. You're getting there.
But they were fake news.
They
were
turn
fake
you.
news.
They're gonna turn you.
Like,
you're not even gonna know it.
It's so frustrating because like I was there, and like where we was putting out like actual, like saying, look, these calculations are completely wrong. Every journalist, every content creator that had no intention of ever playing this game made a report about it. So like the game was destroyed based on lies. And then the game came out without microtransactions. And then everyone, still 6 years later, it's like, this game is pay to win. It's like, no, it never actually was.
Yeah.
In terms
responsible
of global
gamers should be watching Azatru and Digital Foundry. Like, that's about it. That's about it on YouTube.
Yeah, but they don't, like, there's not that many reasonable. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of people don't really like the Catholic.
They watch Angry Joe and said, well, that's the problem. Like,
they want
even he has annoyed his audience recently for being woke in some way, for like not biting into their agenda. Like
they got the Texan. They got the Texan.
No, it's like as soon as they have one like disagreement, like it's insane.
Well,
it
yeah,
really is. Like, you can't win.
It's just the othering game. You use the woke thing, and then you can keep continuing to push to demonize what you don't want, what you don't like, and that's the whole thing. Like with the Kathleen Kennedy thing, no one actually believes anything that any of these people say about her. But they want that to happen. So it's like, and I'm not fucking around. It's like the chaos magic thing. Those people have literally done chaos magic on their streams, and it's because they believe that if you just will it into the universe, it will happen. If we say it, it will be real.
Manifest.
And it's just like, that will help with you like losing weight and getting up to go to the gym, but it's not really going to help with somebody in a whole other town get fired.
All Ukraine needs to do is manifest the Russians out of their country and problem solved. Like,
well, it's not easy. So why don't the Russians just do that with Putin and get rid of him? Garth Knight, 49 super chat. Thank you, Garth Knight, for another super chat. Says, can Lucasfilm just cut itself into two branches? The Bay Area Lucasfilm will satisfy you folks, and the Kansas campus would work on normie stuff.
Well, we mean the British campus.
The Kansas.
We need Pinewood to be its own thing, and Manhattan Beach, is peak Star Wars for Santa. Right?
I mean, every episode would be about moisture farming and the harvests on Tatooine. If there was Kansas,
and we'll give Azatrue a live service so he shuts up. Right, right.
Like to a big extent, like the Presidio and Skywalker Ranch, those are still things. They still exist. There's not saying they went anywhere, but I feel like as time has gone on, Lucasfilm's presence in Los Angeles has become way more prevalent, way more actually like I don't know if relevant's the word, because it's it's like we live in a world where people work from home. So there being the thing there and the thing there, like none of that shit, it's not really as big of a deal as I think as it used to be. Maybe for an internal community it is, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though if down the road Lucasfilm loses the license for the Presidio, the agreement, and then we just see Lucasfilm really relocate mainly to here, and then have the ranch for retreats and stuff. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it eventually ends up going. But every single week there's like a story saying that that's going to happen, because San Francisco itself knows that Lucasfilm and is Disney and that they got the money. And so it's kind of like they shook George Lucas down pretty hard in San Francisco, and he gave all of the land that he was going to develop his digital studio, the one that they have here basically now. They were going to make that in San Francisco, and he just gave it to low-income housing developments. And because he knows those Marin County rich fucks hate nothing more than poors. So now the poors, well, we should look into that. Did they ever build the housing tract that from what George, you know what I mean? Did they ever build that community or not?
No. When I went in 2019, it was really strange going there because it was like there's not much around there. It's like really quiet.
In Marin County?
Presidio, like
Presidio.
It was really nice. It was like really nice and quiet. It was just really, it was strange. It was like, I don't know, it was like just there was people like, because it was a summer's day and whatnot, but like it was just really interesting because it's so so different to being I thought it was going to be like really, I wasn't really sure what to expect basically, but
I used to live across the street from Golden Gate Park and San Francisco, and I would just meet Lucasfilm people all the time. People were like, "Hey, Jason," and then they would just be like, they just start giving me stuff like, "Fuck those guys," yeah, fuck them. But it was, all right, I gotta get going because I gotta get to a class. Sorry for everything being so disjointed for you today, Mr. Azatrue.
No problem. One last thing I will say is Star Wars Hunters maybe gearing up for a global launch soon, because like they just dropped a really big update, and it's really easy to play now on like PC. You could just emulate it on PC now really easily. So people that want to get in, like it's essentially out in every country but the UK, US, and Germany. So I've played it a couple of days ago, and on controller it's good. It's simple, but like if you just want to play like a couple of matches for 10-15 minutes a day, like they've got some really good cosmetics. Like they've got all the Imperial troopers, like all the stuff from the Mandalorian that isn't in Fortnite, that isn't in Battlefront. Like they've got Fallen Order inspired stuff. Like I think it will do well, but it's just not. It doesn't have the substances what people want. They want something like Battlefront, and at this point, I don't know, but like there's been a lot of us talking about it on Twitter, and like there is a lot of people talking, and no publisher wants to seem to give it us. So it's really strange.
I keep hoping that they're gonna put it on Xbox and stuff like that, and just like let us play the game, cross-platform.
I hope so. I
mean,
it's just that like I hope so, but like I said, I think a lot of people will find it's really simplistic, and it's a mobile game. It's simple.
It is a mobile,
However, it's fine. On controller, like I'm playing on my PC, so I'm running it on an emulator on my controller. I'm like, this is fun. Like finally something new to learn in Star Wars, and I'm playing other people. Like, but it's very simple. So I think it's gonna attract like people that don't want depth, but like for the more hardcore like gamers, gonna be like, this isn't that. But
Ray Water says, have Acid True on more often. He's such a calming voice. Yeah, Acid True is always welcome. Funny story. Thrawn kill. If I'm able to do a show tomorrow, Thrawn, you're always welcome too. Yes, last time was it? I don't know, earlier in the week, Thrawn was going to be on, and my headphone jack wasn't plugged in correctly, and I'm telling him his mic is broken. Oh, I can't hear you, man. Your mic sounds like shit. What? Can you hear me? Well, your stuff is broke. And it turns out he was fine. Everything was fine, Thrawn. Turns out Jesse, everything was cool. It was me. So I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, you still can't come on though. That's Jason too. He said,
what? What? Bespin says, have Acid True on more and Bespin less. I like when we had our Avengers today, because everybody was like, it's me, and everybody was like, yay.
Does Bespin think he's logged in to his other account right now? Does he not know? Yeah. He doesn't know.
He's doing the old trick of trying to get sympathy for him, so that way people follow him on Patreon. Which they
when my Filoni shows up in the chat, I have an alt account.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I have a exam to get to today and tomorrow, so that's something that might hinder a show tomorrow. But yeah, I think we'll do. I think I'll probably do one tomorrow, though. I want to. So everyone,
we could just stream ourselves over Azatru's show, Jason. We can.
I don't live stream because no one watches me. They used to when Battlefront was. You get more views than me now. Like they don't care. Like,
oh no.
That's how it goes. You can have 100,000 subscribers, no one cares because Battlefront's dead.
So. Battlefront's dead. Well,
thank you.
I do believe that Battlefront will be a franchise that will get revived.
It'll be back. Lucasfilm own it, but all people keep. I know I'll be quick, but so many people keep saying, "Bring it back, bring it back." Like the game's done. Effectively, all of them are gone now. They're at a new studio led by the guy that everyone loved who made Battlefront. Right? They've gone. DICE have just taken the Need for Speed studio, 2 Need for Speed studios to make Battlefield. They've now got 5 studios developing the next Battlefield.
I worked at a company that put every studio on the block to make one game, and I'm telling you, that usually is a signal of wanting to sell. I'm just letting you know.
I think this is DICE's last chance because the guy running Battlefield now is Vince Zampella, who made Call of Duty, made Medal of Honor, made Titanfall, and got Respawn set up. So if the next Battlefield fails, it's done for DICE, I think. So
what if they make Battlefront, but they're all chibis, right? Because they want to appeal to the younger kids.
We posted a tweet today. We'd like a live service game like this, and it's all the Fortnite skins, and so many haters. Loads of them saying, "Yeah, I'd like this, but without the sequel trilogy woke stuff. No Rey, no women." And then a bunch of them just saying, "No, I hate this. This looks ugly." And it's like, okay, sure.
Yeah. Garth, that's that thing, a frog ward. Yeah, the frog lady from Mando season 2, and all of her babies, and we're gonna eat her. We're gonna eat her eggs, Grogu style. But thanks for hanging out with us and for coming back, leaving and coming back. Even most people, when they leave, they say, "I'm never going back there." Thanks, man. And
Ahmed Best, he never came back.
Oh, that was cool. That's cool.
I was super happy. You gotta get Gareth Edwards, Jason. You gotta get him.
I'm seeing the creator tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if Gareth wants to come on and talk about creator, I'll talk about creator all day.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, something I wanted to tell people, but I forgot what it was.
The Abyss 4K is coming.
Oh, yeah. But thank you to everybody for liking the video, for the super chats today. I really appreciate it. And I've been putting some of the jokey, the songs and stuff that we do onto TikTok. So we're making Star Wars on TikTok. So if you follow that jazz, you can watch that crap there if you want to. And it's really weird. I put out a TikTok video, and then it won't get more than 1,000 views because it goes right to 1,000, and then it just stops. And I heard it's because I don't have any followers. Whatever, don't care. But anyways, we'll be back. Thank you guys, and I'll see everybody pretty soon. Wait, is this the right end? Which is the end? I don't know. Let's see what happens.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
It's the end of the show.
spaceship.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.